that we're live or anything until it hooks up onto my phone. There's a delay because of StreamYard. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard at the moment, but there just seems to be a massive delay in what happens on here to what happens on here to what happens in the comments.
Right. Okay.
You think it, with it being a pay-for service, you'd think it'd all be,
yeah,
it would all be spot on, perfect.
Hello, everybody.
But I don't. Are we on there yet?
Yeah, we are, because it's already on my phone.
How come it's on your phone and not mine?
Because
I haven't bothered looking on mine.
fucking Scott.
Now it is. Now it is. Skip ads. Yeah, live chat. Oh, there we are. Now we're up to date. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. How is everybody in chat? I hope you're all good. Hope you've dropped it a like. If you're not subscribed, remember to be subscribed. Chris has been a channel member for 8 months and says, "Old fart Smurf with fake beard."
Chris gets them in early.
Happy Amp has been a channel member for 18 months. Oh, wow. Made stick MK decals. Hey, dude, I need to message you as it goes about a little sticker I'm thinking about. Aaron's just got in from work. Lupang's here. Steve's here.
Ellie doesn't need a beard.
Vixen's here. Ellie's here.
Ellie's
Richard's a Quake. Sophie's here. Osman's here. Craig's here. Michael, Matty, Luke,
Luke,
Callum, Phil, Chris. Chris is just a pain in the bum.
you knew full well though, Scott, getting me on here, it was just going to be a beard war from minute one. You knew that.
It all started off with Michael Taylor. A8 converter man, hey dude. It all started off with Michael Taylor on about the fake beard. And Chris's little one, hey Jalen, has literally swung off my beard and it didn't move. So it's been proved that it's real. Yet Chris still says, no, it's not. We finally have a real beard on screen, says Phil.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, Phil says we finally have a real beard on screen, and Phil has been on this live several times.
I know, he's sort of causing himself problems there, isn't he?
We have had a night with a zookeeper 2 or 3 times on the channel now, which has been Phil.
Maybe he's just trying to come clean about his own, hair. Who knows?
I reckon so. Or he's got a full head of locks, so I reckon he just
Sweeps it round. Yeah.
sweeps it around and pretends it's a beard.
Ties
Ellie,
it
you've got the world's smallest vape, apparently.
It's called the Lost Mary. It's well cool.
Tara had one of them, cherry flavour.
Yeah.
She literally stuck it under my nose going, do you want some of this? I was like,
Craig.
I actually love them, but I love the name even more. When I bought one yesterday, I was like, Leah, I got a Lost Mary. She's like, excuse me? I said, I'm sucking on a Lost Mary. She's like, what?
I'll be fair though, Craig. I think mine only looks real because it's got a lot of grey in it.
oh no, I'm joining you on the grey front, and I'm not going to dye it neither.
No,
I
you
don't.
can't. Why would you do that?
As it goes greyer, it just goes grey.
Yeah.
And I respect guys like you, which literally just smash the grey up like.
I've got grey pork chops, and then it's like dark at the front. It's really weird.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Clive. So when I'm going to dye my hair, pretty soon, I think. I haven't been online too much for the last couple of days because I've been a bit unwell, but I think he's pretty close to the 1,500. I don't know, but as soon as he gets there, then we are organising the trip over to see Leah, and then Leah is going to dye this little bit of hair left that I've got left blue. Jalen, where's your beard, Ellie? Jalen's 12, I think. Are you 12, Jalen? And lives up the road. A bit like Leo.
Hello, everybody.
There'll be no grey in Scott's beard. He can only buy ginger, says Chris.
That's gonna be the chat for about the first hour, isn't it?
Literally, I don't know if you've ever. I mean, obviously you've seen Chris. So Chris just his hair's gone like this, and then been pulled through a bush backwards.
Yeah.
I can't even put my hair down because I cut most of it off. It's like this short now.
Oh no! What, deliberately or?
Yeah.
Cheers, Happy Answer. Happy Answer just put your Instagram link into the comments.
Oh, nice. Thank you, dude. Thank you.
You've got the YouTube channel just about starting, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only just started. It's like I've had a channel for like years, but I rebranded it because I wasn't really putting much on there. It was just like holiday stuff and videos like that, just for the family to see.
Oh, that's funny.
And then the only thing I put up there was I did a challenge for Great Ormond Street, which was like squats. It was 200 squats a day for a month. And so I put a video up every single day of me doing these squats. And I was like, I got bored after the first week of just doing air squats, like body weight squats. So I started mixing it up. I was doing pistol squats. I was doing front weighted squats. I was doing jump squats. I was doing all sorts. I started going on a walk down to the river. I was doing them along the river, filming everything. I put a video up every day of it. And then I thought, right, well, now that's done. I cleared all the videos off the channel, like made them all private, and just rebranded it. Once I started collecting the spiders, I thought, I'll jump in because I was putting videos on Instagram, and I thought, well, I might as well do some YouTube because I do like editing. I do like the process of recording stuff and putting it together.
I don't think I could do 200 squats in a month, let alone 200 a day for a month.
I'll tell you, it was the first week I was there. And once then the aching was just a constant thing. It didn't get any worse, and it actually got easier to do them. But I will not do it again.
Well, I mean, looking at your fitness, I mean, there's the average guy, which we're here, and you've got that fitness just out of the park.
The only reason I carried on doing it right to the end was because I raised, I think it was about 2,000 for Great Ormond Street. So it's like I made sure I did that. Yeah, I wouldn't have done it if it had just been for a personal thing. I wouldn't have bothered. But it was like, there's a challenge. I reckon I can get that done. It's not going to be too bad. It was horrible. But as soon as I started doing it and people were donating, it's like, how can you not carry on? You commit to something, you got to get it through, haven't you?
What made you do it in the first place?
Someone sort of. I run a group on Facebook for weight loss. And one of the other admins, you'll have to excuse the dogs at the moment. The wife's just come back in from judo. She posted it in there and sort of said, "Oh, this is for Great Ormond Street. It's coming up. Does anyone want to join me on it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll have some of that." So it was just like I thought, I'll put the videos up and did that, and it was good. It was hard, but for a good cause. And they raised an awful lot of money for it. There was hundreds of people that did it like around the country, and it raised an awful lot of money for Great Ormond Street. Worthy cause.
I think because in the community, I think that the two fittest guys, in my opinion, would be you and Lewis, because both you guys just go for it, and both of you just seem to get tunnel vision.
Yeah, I am. I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people that says like, if I'm going to do something, I'm doing it, and it can be a curse.
Is that self-taught? Is that self-taught, or have you always had that drive?
I'm always one of those annoying people that I hate being rubbish at anything. So I played golf like as younger. I got into golf a little bit, and it was one of those things. It was just like a challenge, like really hard to hit a ball that's not moving using your body, which is moving, and a club that's moving in a straight line. So I'd be obsessed with it. I'd go and practice all the time. And it's just a trait I have. It's like if I'm doing something, I want to know everything. I'm one of those annoying people. That's why I ask so many questions when it comes to like these Beatles. I've probably done Phil's head in like loads of people. It's like I want to make sure I understand things. I want to learn. I want to do this. I've always got something on the go. Always.
Phil will not mind you talking to him.
I know.
About the Beatles, trust me. Yeah. When I got my Beatles, so obviously Phil was a guy that I was like, yeah, Phil,
Yeah.
And obviously included him in that video as well because, there's snippets of information that you pick up from Google and online, but with Phil, he's already got all that information all stored in his mind, isn't he?
I mean, like for example, those Beatles, I was like, as soon as I got the grubs, I was straight on Phil's case. and I went onto YouTube and I had about 30 tabs. I just any Sunbeat or any pack noda, searched like all the videos, open. I had about 15 tabs open, and I was messaging every single person that had a video, like asking them similar questions about the same stuff. So I got opinions from all over, like Dave Fisher, obviously Phil, other people, just to get information on what I wanted to do, and just because I hate not knowing things.
Jackie's been a channel member for 5 months. Thank you, Jackie. She says, one of my grandsons is getting tested for autism. Good. You'll struggle. They probably won't get you a diagnosis. If they're getting tested, then he's got to be 5 years of age, I would have thought. It's very difficult to get the actual tag before that age.
The good thing about anything like that, if you get a child statemented for autism, ADHD, anything they've got, at least then they will get the help through the schools they need. The problem is the challenge of getting it done. But once you get it done, you will always get it. And it helps them endlessly. I mean, I volunteered at a secondary school for a few months while I was looking at changing over to teaching, and you found that once they get the recognised and that it's all signed off and all the boxes are ticked, the amount of help the teachers get, the school gets, funding, all this, that, and the other, as you probably know. But it's also exams for the GCSEs. There's no point not having them. It's no stigma anymore, and it shouldn't be. It should be a case of these kids need the extra help, and those exams should reflect that. Otherwise, you're just giving them no help at all. Like they're going to struggle through life.
The only issue that we find with Leo is other people. And I know everybody in chat accepts autisms and people with different mental health, and just affects, and accepts the fact that every single one of us is different, and we all express that differently. But sometimes when we go into town and he has a little wobble, the issue for us is other people more than anything. But
yeah, it's the looks, isn't it?
Once you get a paediatrician that says, I think he is autistic, I think you're correct.
Mm-hmm.
The nursery suddenly goes, oh shit, yeah, we need to keep him because we'll get £600 to get the soft toy stuff for him and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And our nursery suddenly went from going, oh, well, we don't really know, to going, oh yeah, we'll get this for him, we'll do this. And now they're doing absolutely everything because they get funded.
It's a shame they're like that, and it is a lot of money driven. But also at the same time, from a business perspective, if they think they're going to get, at least if they've got the money, they can maybe do more for the kids. It's if they take the money and then don't do anything extra for the kids, that's when it's an issue.
Oh no, I question it. I question it every time I go in. You can ask my other half. Literally, I'm like, so what have you bought for the children with autism this month?
Yeah, exactly.
And give me a breakdown. So where's the love for tarantulas come from?
Do you know what? Right.
And inverts, especially with you having the Beatles and everything else. Chris has dropped your TikTok into the Instagram, comments as well. Sorry.
That's gone crazy. That's gone crazy, that thing. We'll talk about that in a bit, but I've had a weird week and it's still getting weirder. So the love for tarantulas and inverts, right? I will admit, like, if you go back to me 5 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe, I would have been like, no, I'm not going near a spider. I would literally get the missus to put spiders outside. I wouldn't touch them. I wouldn't go near them. House spiders hate them. My conservatory's full of false widows. Absolutely hated spiders. It was like, I wouldn't kill them. False widows, maybe, if they were like literally encroaching upstairs, I'd be like, oh. But my son is he's always been into animals, and like not necessarily just animals, but like natural history. I remember when he was 5, he basically was telling this. We were up at the Natural History Museum in London, and he gave this woman was telling her grandkids a story about these dinosaurs, and he turned around to her. He's 5 years old, and he said, "Excuse me, you're wrong." And she was like, "Okay, smarty pants, what do you mean?" And he then explained about all the history and the fact that these were millions of years apart from each other, and that wouldn't have happened. And she goes, "Okay, what about?" And he ended up giving a guided tour around the dinosaur section to these families at 5 years old, right?
Wow.
He became a friend with one of the curators there who opened up the big egg pod to do with all the inverts and stuff there. And the Darwin section, that's what it's called. She was basically the person who did all the research there. we've been backstage at the Natural History Museum into their research facilities and stuff like that, and held like 400-year-old samples of scorpions and all this, that, and the other. And the love from it has come from him, basically. So he's got.
I think we're going to have a very jealous Phil in the chat at the moment. I would have thought.
Dude,
Very jealous everybody in the chat, I think.
It was amazing. I've got photographs of him. I'll put some photographs in the WhatsApp tomorrow, but I've got photos of him as a very young age holding these samples that are like over 400 years old and stuff, all these like preserved species and things of stuff. And it's racks upon racks. We were there for all day just pulling these things out, silk gloves, getting all these things out and having a good old look round. And he was then hassling me because he wants to go and do zoology at Bangor University. That's his dream. And he's sort of hassling me, can we have this? Can we have that? And I'm like, no, you've got a snake. You're not having anything else. You don't have anything else. And he was like, can I just have a tarantula? Can I have a tarantula? So I said, look, if you do all the research about it, I'll think about it. Because normally that's like, do a bit of research and then that'll be forgotten. But he didn't. He didn't let it go. So back last year, we ended up, I messaged Spider Shop because I was like, how on earth can they ship these things through the post? Like,
oh, no, that's what I thought when I first found out about it. I was like, what?
It doesn't make sense to me. What are you talking about? No, they can't. So anyway, I messaged Sam and I was having a back and forth with Sam for about a week. And then he sort of said to me, look, if you want to go for it, go for this setup, get a GBB, it'll be brilliant. So we got a GBB. We got their package, their beginner setup thing in a phanarium. And to be fair, the GBB's still in that phanarium. It's a male, but it's doing really well. But as with all things, we got that. And then we went to the Midlands Entomology Show because I said to my wife, this will be a good thing to take him to.
Yeah.
So we went up there and had a look. And I got talking to Ads Darcy quite heavily. And I ended up getting a sub-adult female Somani off of him. This is the one that I freaked out and I thought I'd killed with its bit water coming out of its mouth. And then we also got a curly hair from Mark's tea room while we was up there. So we came home and my wife's like, why did you get two more? You've already got one.
Oh.
And then it just went.
Welcome to the addiction.
And I, to be fair, I haven't gone crazy. We've got just under 60, I think, at the moment. But that was from September last year. But when I went to BTS, it's like I fell in love with mantises. I thought mantises, I'm not interested in them. It's like I'm obsessed with mantises. I've only got two, but I just love
the same. You know, I'm still very much. I like to see other people's mantis more than keep them myself.
Do you know what changed for me? Though? It was the fact that when I got this one from Mantis Den, and it was a Asian forest one, like the Tarantula masculata. And it was the fact that when I opened the lid, it walked out onto my hand and it was just strolling around on my hand and then strolled nice and calmly into the enclosure. And I was like, that just got me buzzing. It was like, that really did it for me. And just watching them move and eat. I mean, the way they eat compared to tarantulas eating, it's highly predatory. But yeah, the mantis. And then I got the sun beetles just because I was in Bug Hut and I saw them and I thought, I quite like them. They look really nice. And then I was extremely impatient with the grubs. They took far too long for my liking. But we've got 4 now. And they're in the biggest enclosure I've got in the house at the moment, apart from the reptiles. I've got them in a 30 by 30 by 45. I don't know if I'll move the camera. You can probably see these things. I'll set this up this week. Where is it? There. This enclosure, it's a bit dark maybe, but I'll get some light on it.
There we go.
So we got that enclosure set up for them. And we've only put the beetles in. The grubs are still on top, but that's their setup. And it's like, load of substrate, a nice bit of cork bark with a bank at the back to give them nice deep substrate. But they're pretty cool. They're funny little things. They stink when they get on your hands. They don't like being, if they want to let their smell go. Cool, they do smell. And as soon as you try and pick them up and move them anywhere, they poop on you. Yeah. So, but yeah, they're cool. I like
Phil says some of the rhino beetles he's got can take years to mature.
Yeah.
When I got mine, I was chatting to him, and I thought, 6 months, I'll have larvae. I'd see the larvae, and Phil was like, try 12 months. You just have to keep digging up the substrate every 3 or 4 months. I was like, what?
What I like about the sun beetles is the fact that they breed like wildfire, and the whole point in putting them in that big enclosure is the fact that I'm hoping I can do what Phil's done at his zoo and effectively leave the grubs and the eggs and the larvae and the cocoons in there and just let it colonize and stay in there and keep going and keep going. I mean, I know that they might become too many, but I've got the bug hut just down the road. I'm sure Natalie will take some off me. But yeah, it's the fact I know I've got to change out the substrate a little bit for the poop and the wood, and just put wood and fruit in there. But hopefully, it'll just, because it's such a big enclosure, I won't have to do that as often as if they were kept in a small environment. You know,
you can always feed off some of the larvae as well if you think you got to.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm quite.
But then the pets, aren't they? So you're going to be like, do I? Don't I?
We've got a colony of hissing roaches that we've had the same length of time as we've had our snake for. We've had our snake for 10 years. And I've had these hissing roaches for 10 years. And people are saying, but if you haven't got any runners or any dubias, why don't you use them? And I'm like, I can't. I've got hundreds of them. I have got hundreds of them in a tank. And they've just had a load of babies. But I can't take them out there and feed them. I just can't use them. It's really weird. I can't bring myself to it.
You're going to end up with millions. But I do know there is at least 2 other people in the chat that are very, very similar to that.
Yeah.
I suppose.
And I know that they're quite. I think Phil will sort of correct me if I'm wrong here, but with regards to those hissers, they're quite a lot tougher than things like the runners and the dubias a little bit. I think they're a little bit more hardy, so they're always don't make amazing feeders anyway. So I mean, we've got some that are like 2-3 inches, and then we've got like loads of little nymphs now as well. They're all running riot in there, but yeah, they're good.
I found the hissers like take a good little bit longer than dubias to get going. And then again, I don't think they produced as many babies for me as what dubias do.
Yeah.
And that's probably why people go for the dubias instead.
Do you know, I've got up here, just there past my ear, that side there, the top enclosure there. You can't really see it, but that's got one male dubia in it. Yeah, and I can't bring myself to use him for food because he survived a massive crash of a colony, and he was the only survivor. And it's like, no, he's not getting fed to anyone. He's getting looked after now, and he's been up there for about 6-7 months. Just in his it's ridiculous. Living his life.
Crazy how we get attached. Yeah. For me, I wouldn't even batter an eyelid. I'd just go. I'd literally go larvae or the tarantula. Tarantula wins. Here's dinner. And I'd probably film it, put it as a short, or whatever. Wouldn't think anything of it. But then the next person, obviously, if you've had a colony for 10 years.
I drove home from judo, like, got to get home for 8 o'clock, got to get home for 8 o'clock. I raced in, parked my car out in the driveway, shut the door, just turned around and started walking up the drive. And because it's been raining, first thing I did was step on a snail. And I'm like, I hate it. Because normally I'm out there with a torch. And I'm silly. I move the snails so I don't tread on. I hate crushing snails. I can't deal with it. I hate it.
Tara like would literally come in and go, Scott, can you move the slugs from the doorstep, please? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then she's like, where have you put them? I'm like, in the garden. She's like, just put them in the bin. I'm like, no, I can't do that. They're snails without the homes. That's all they are.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm out there, even if it's raining. I'll see in the headlights. I see my car go up the driveway. I'll stop. It'll be raining. I'll get out. I'll be soaking wet. I'm moving snails out of my way so I can drive my car up and not crush any. Yeah, I'm just like that. I'm a sensitive soul, I reckon.
And then going back to like the tarantula content and what have you, your TikTok had a video do pretty well.
So I started that a little bit before I did the YouTube channel, and I just put up a few short videos. It's just a nice way to document silly little things, you know, a little bit of editing. I was sort of getting back into editing before I jumped into YouTube again. And I was like, yeah, I don't mind doing it. And most of the videos, 100, 200 views. I had about 450 subscribers. And then I caught that Nandu carapensis. I was going to do a video for YouTube, and I saw it just flipped on its back. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll record a time lapse for the video instead. Yeah. And I'll put it up to all the social media. And when I put it on social media, I was like, okay, just expect the same thing. Didn't use any funny hashtags or anything like that. Just literally put the genus name, species name, tarantula molting, and that was it. And I woke up Friday morning. My son's like, Dad, you got 121,000 views on that video. And I'm like, what? And he was like, I was just like, that's awesome. If it had stayed at 121,000, I'd have been made up for life. I was just like, that's quality. I like that. Not for, you know, it doesn't give me anything apart from it just gives you a warm feeling inside that, that's cool. That's a cool thing to happen.
How many people Don't Keep Tarantulas have now seen that video and gone, oh, that's cool.
Ridiculous. Friday day, we sat there on the phone and it was just like up, up, up. And it got to 1 million. Like Chris said, it'll get to 1 million. And I'm like, whatever. I was in the back of my head, I'm like, whatever. And when it did, I was like, this is just silly. And I was just like, I don't get it. And then I was at a wedding on the Saturday and I had to turn my phone off because it was just and it hit 2 million. And then Sunday it hit 3. And it's literally now currently 9.2 million.
Wow.
I had a message this morning on Instagram from Lad Bible saying, can we please use your video?
Yes.
And they made me sign a release thing for it. They give me full credit. I'm not getting any money for it. And I said to people are saying, oh, you should get money. I'm like, if it was just on my TikTok, I'm not going to get any money for it anyway. So why do I care? Like, they can use the video. If I'm getting credit for it, it doesn't matter to me. I don't mind. They've got to give me credit. It says it in the contract, but they can use it as much as they want. And, you know, fine. They've got 12 million followers. If they use my video, it's only going to be good. But that was a weird thing.
Happy Ants just put a super chat in and he said, remember to message Scott, calling him AW Anchor. He loves it. I can't say what obviously he is intending for that to say because it's not 9 o'clock yet. But he is with him, Chris and Michael, I reckon they'll be my downfall. Michael
will never let the beard go. He won't.
The microphone thing's been going 7 months, 8 months. maybe even longer than that now.
That's crazy. But yeah, the TikTok was cool. It's like, it is what it is, but it's I find it amusing. I find social media a real strange place, and to see something like that, people are probably bored with the updates from me constantly saying like how many it's got. But I'm not doing it from a like egotistical. I'm doing it from a massive backstep of disbelief. It's like, why me, just a little person who lives in a tiny village in the middle of nowhere with a few friends? Like, I haven't got a huge social life, and this all of a sudden that many people have seen it. And when you try and put it into context of, okay, that's 2 of these cities or this city, and I was getting messages off people I haven't seen since I left school in '92, saying my kids just showed me a video and I had to tell them I was at school with you, and I was like, that's cool.
I mean, oh my god! Now Chris has done a super chat and said fake beard Smurf. That's because the hair is going to be going blue for the Steve's autism thing if he hits 1,500.
That's good. I think if it hits 2,500, you can do everything.
No, the beard's definitely not getting dyed. I don't mind doing the hair and what have you, but the beard is definitely not. The beard is staying.
The worst thing you can do is dye a beard, mate, because it just ruins the hair. It's a different type of hair. Just
exactly. And the actual beard was probably 8 years in the making before I actually grew it, because there was lots of times where I started and stopped.
Yeah.
Started and cut it. I grew a tosh for a good long while, and then had bits of beard. In fact, this beard started off as one of those ones that just comes around like that.
Yeah.
And then I grew that a little bit, and I thought, well, actually, I need to grow a bit further up now. So we did that, and then I had to fill these side bits in as well. So it's...
Yeah. I regret you shave down here and you grow this and you try and tidy things up and you end up making a mess of it. If you get it cut by anyone, get it cut professionally always.
Yeah. My hairdresser, if I say I just want it a little tiny bit, he's like this, and he's just getting rid of the little wispy bits, and that's it.
Yeah, tidy it up.
I'm going to wait until it's a bit longer before I get it like shaped, if you like.
Yeah, you'd be surprised to know I don't really visit the barber that often, but
I do. I mean, I normally, I should have gone today actually, but like I said, I've been a bit unwell this week, so I haven't been to the barbers. But normally, this is all shaved right back. And
yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah, the missus can do it, but you know, when you've got the kids and then you've got the missus and all the rest of it, you know, no offense to the other half, obviously, but to go and get your hair cut for me is like 20 minutes of man time, chilling up the hairdressers.
Yeah.
You know, the guy that runs the hairdressers' Vice is a good mate as well. But yeah, they're all Jamaican, so you get that Jamaican vibe as soon as you walk through the doors as well. So it's a whole experience.
Yeah, exactly. It's a day out.
I'd miss it so much. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
Oh, see you later, Jalen. Get Michelle to charge your phone for you. Or your mum, sorry, I should say, not Michelle.
cheers, Mark, for that.
Yeah, Mark Spider Guy is awesome as well. As just Tarantula Rookie's channel link into the comments.
Going and meeting Mark
Happy Ant
was awesome.
Happy Ant has just put your Instagram link into the comments.
Nice.
Meeting Mark. Mark is the same guy that you see on YouTube with no differences whatsoever in real life.
I had a chat with him at Bristol, and obviously I saw yourself over there as well. That was a good, because we first met at Taunton.
Yeah.
And then I said hello to you at BTS because I know you were busy at BTS, and then I sort of met you again over at Bristol. But when I met Mark was the first time over at Bristol, and I tell you, like, honestly, it was just a brilliant chat. I met Mark as well, A8, and yeah, really really nice people, absolutely brilliant people. Mark's superb. I've got a lot of time for Mark. I think his channel doesn't get enough recognition. Same as Phil. I don't understand. It's one of my life's confusions. I don't understand how Phil's channel hasn't got like 1 million subscribers. Do you know what I mean? This information is ridiculous.
Let me just put my laptop on charge. I think it must have fallen out around the back. It won't be 1 second.
Michael. That's brilliant. Mate, you don't have to thank me, Mark. Honestly, your channel's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant channel. He might have done, you know. It's all going to go quiet for a few minutes now, isn't it? There he is.
It just come up. It said charge your laptop. I was like, oh, sugar. Oh. Yeah, with Phil's channel, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't think
you've got two markets, haven't you? You've got entertainment and you've got information. And unfortunately, you need to have a balance between the two. I do think that people do get that. But I think there's too many people that want the entertainment and don't act when they want the entertainment, but they need the information. They need it. They should be watching the information, even though it may not be the most glamorous thing to watch. It will benefit you more in the long run than an entertainment video will. That's for sure.
There's loads of people that I think should have massive channels. Mark, obviously, Mark the Spider Guy, Phil, Incredible Inverts and Other Animals, Leah from Unusual Pets, Christina, Spider Mum 1978. There's just so many, and you just sit there and think, you know, why have you not hit 10,000 subscribers? Why? But then,
yeah,
it's just down to YouTube and how YouTube kind of clicks onto you and chucks you out or doesn't.
It's a real strange one, because I know that you can sort of see the analytics. It's like my when I did the review of the Mantis Den, the Spider Shop, and Spooder Nest enclosures, it's like my first video. When I was having a look at that, and it sort of tells you where people have come from, like how they've been directed to your video. They were being directed from like a Dark Den video, and I'm like, why is my video coming up after a recommendation from one of his? Obviously, you're going to get traction from that, but it was like the algorithm's very strange.
I had one of mine was like, I went to the videos that was recommended mine, and it was like a dance video and something else, and I was thinking, hold on a minute, I'm thinking it was one of the P Metallica videos that I did actually, and I was thinking, what's going on here? But I think a lot of people say algorithm, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do the other. All I've noticed is that if you're consistent, sometimes it goes, sometimes it don't.
Oh yeah.
But then I've also seen if you're not consistent, sometimes it goes, sometimes it does. Toby's Exotics wasn't posting a lot at one time, and then he put one video out, and I think he's on almost 20 million views on one short. Wow. And he's got his platinum plaque for having 100,000 subscribers and all the rest of it. That's and cool. He'll tell you yourself, he didn't do anything special. He just uploaded a short and it went crazy.
That's brilliant though, isn't it, when that happens? And it's like the same with that TikTok. It's like, I've got no idea, but I gained on TikTok alone, I've almost at 5,000 subscribers now. And I had 400. So that's just crazy in itself. I mean, it's got over 500,000 likes, and it's got something like I don't know, as far as the comments go, I think it was on 20,000 comments or something, and then it was ridiculous share. It was the shares and saves I couldn't understand. Very weird. Social media is an odd place.
But how many times have like you caught up with somebody, like one of your mates, and they've gone, "Oh, you seen this?"
Yeah.
You know, and you've always got the weird guy, which would be you, which would be me, which would be Ellie, that gets out a tarantula molting video and go, "Oh, check this."
Yeah. Tagging people who you know don't want to see it. That's
Oh yeah,
the main thing on that one is people are tagging people going, if I've had to see this, you've got to see it, and they're like, no, I can't sleep now. It's that has been one of the big things on it as well. I've noticed most of that, but to be fair, I was thinking the comments were going to be like quite horrible, and like there was going to be quite a bit of negativity once it started getting traction like that. And to be fair, TikTok deal with that quite well. They keep that, like, you know, you have to approve a lot of stuff that's offensive and stuff. So that's quite good. Like, fair play to them for that. The filter thing on there is pretty cool. But yeah, looking forward to Bedford.
I don't know if I'm going to Bedford yet. It depends on finances closer to the time. Definitely going to the Coventry one though.
Yeah.
There's a. Sorry.
You can walk to the Coventry one.
It's probably
get your fitness up.
about 10-15 minute drive, but Lee from the spider shop literally said, "Look, you know, would you mind giving us a hand at the Coventry show?" He said, "Because I'm not going to be there because his partner's hopefully going to be having a baby or had a baby. And he wants me to go outside, sell some of the tickets for the wristbands and what have you." But he said, more importantly, go outside and find out, you know, everybody that needs to be in there 10 minutes before anybody else.
Yeah.
So, of course, that for me, that is like massive tick for the autism crew. You're all in early. So
it's good. It's good.
Yeah, anybody with disabilities and that will be going in first. Yeah, which will be absolutely awesome.
But that's part of this community, isn't it? It's things like that. Like someone like Lee, who's obviously, you know, it's a big organisation for doing what he does with these shows. To ask you to do something like that, it just shows how good a community we've got. Really.
See, Lee doesn't spend much time on social media, but he does listen to the people that talk to him. And same with the BTS, because I've approached the BTS about doing like maybe a little side room,
right?
That people can just go in and have 10 minutes, a quiet room, and then come back out again and carry on doing their shopping instead of having to go home or something.
Yeah.
And they're seriously thinking about it for next year. The answer was, well, you can go outside, and I said, I've got a child with autism. Let me tell you how he works so you can get a better understanding. And the guy was like, sure, let's talk. And I did. And he said he will put it to the committee and see what's going to happen for next year.
Like Taunton, the layout when it was down at Taunton, obviously it wasn't a huge hall, but you had outside, I know it was in a sports centre, but you had that cafe literally by the door to the hall you had. And so that was like a quite nice big area, wasn't it? Outside, still undercover, especially for that time of year. But those sort of things, they are needed because unfortunately at the shows, the one downside to those shows is if you aren't there first through the door, trying to get to the tables early doors is hard work. And you do need that downtime just to decompress a little bit.
For me, it's like this, right? If I take Leo to one of the shows and he's having a meltdown, why should I have to take him outside, go through a cloud of smoke, and then go find a quiet space? When he can still hear noise and all the rest of it. Whereas if there's a quiet space where I can close the door and he can't hear nothing, it'd be much better for him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Because he doesn't like, he absolutely hates this vape.
Yeah,
he hates the vapes, but we'll just have to see what happens. But I am very much aware that we can't always do everything perfect for everyone, which is a bit of a shame. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, depending on the level of special needs with the kids and stuff, I found that a lot of them can sort of learn to live and not grow out of the phase, but they sort of learn to cope better with it. And the actual, what you'll see from an outsider's looking at the child's point of view, it'll be less obvious of their conditions, because they learn to cope with things better as they get older. Like we've got a few of the kids that I sort of volunteered judo coaching for. We've had, and I've seen for a good number of years, sort of seen them come from 6 years old to now going off to university. One of them is, and you wouldn't even know that he has any special requirements. But when I first met him, if you tried to grab his wrist, it was literally like World War III had just broken out.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, he's done well. It's good seeing the kids sort of grow up, sort of do that, and sort of be able to cope with things, you know.
I mean, Toby's Exotics. He's autistic, and he's already said I can talk about it and all the rest of it. And there's just one shining example of what people are capable of.
Yeah.
You know, he's absolutely awesome. But yeah, and when you just sit down and chat to people, the amount of people where it has affected their family life, or even, you know, affected them to the point where they've got autism.
Yeah,
it raised an eyebrow, because you're like, I never had a clue. Would never ever have thought it.
One of the kids that I'm not the only club that he goes to and attends, but he's been I've known this kid since he was like just starting senior school, and he's now the world, for his weight category, he is the world ID. They call it ID now, not special. It used to be SN, but it's ID. He's the world ID judo champion for his weight category.
Wow.
And he's one of the kids that we taught. And I'll tell you, going back a few years, you would know straight away, okay, he suffers with some special needs. You wouldn't tell now. To talk to the guy, you wouldn't even notice. You wouldn't notice. But
going back to your judo, what belt are you in judo?
Oh, black belt. I've had a black belt a long time, like over, I think 7 years, 8 years.
What's the next one from that, or does it just stop at black?
You can go up in Dan's, but to be honest, I'd have to go and compete, and even though I'm in a fit position, like my body would work, it's time going and competing at these events. For me to grade, what I have to do is I have to attend a competition, fight through the competition, earn points, and then I have to do a lineup at the end, and that's fighting all the other people who are going for the same grade, and you have to fight those people afterwards as well, like a big, like 1v10 almost, like one at a time, and you sort of get points for how many you've beat and this, that, and the other. And it's a real weird thing, but I haven't got the time. I haven't got the inclination. I don't really do it for me. It's not for my progression. I've got my belt. I've got my coaching certificates. I have my like DBS checks and my first aid and all that I have to keep up to date. Child protection and all that. But I do it for the kids. What happened was I've trained judo since I was a little kid, and then I stopped during my teenage years. And then I went back to it. And actually the club I run now, that I'm the chairman for, is the club I used to train at 8 years old. But we took the club. The club was in a massive load of debt. And it was closing because they couldn't keep it open with a centre. And I said, well, can we maybe come in with a different idea, a bit of a better business plan, this, that, and the other, just to keep it open for the kids. And we managed to get 5 or 6 people sort of trust enough in what I was saying to actually pay the debt off and invest in and come on board. And I think we've got probably about 8 to 10,000 sitting in the bank account now for the club. It's all voluntary. No one gets paid. No one gets any money from the club at all. All we do is every summer we hold a massive barbecue for the kids, and then every winter we hold a massive Christmas party for the kids, and they get presents and all this, that, and the other. We only do it for the kids. I mean, like if the adults class stopped tomorrow, it wouldn't bother me. We only do it for the kids. Like that's from 5 years old to 16 years old. So, and they are what I do it for. They're the ones who put the smile on my face, seeing them get something out of it, you know. And it's a cheap hobby. It only costs them £5 or £4 to attend, something like that. And seeing kids who come in, they're bullied, they're really like got no confidence, whatever, and this and the other. Seeing their confidence grow, confidence is a life-changing thing. Confidence breeds confidence, and as soon as you give someone confidence to do something and give them the "I can" attitude, you'll find that affects their schoolwork. It affects everything they want to go and do, and that is why I do that, and that's why I also do the maths tutoring, right? Because you see the confidence once a kid who thinks they struggle with maths can do maths, all of a sudden all the rest of their schoolwork goes up because it's like that was the hard subject. And the confidence is a huge thing for kids. Huge thing. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't for the kids. I wouldn't bother with a judo club at all. It's like I coach it once a week for them.
That is pretty cool. That is pretty awesome achievement.
It's a good feeling. We turn the club around and it's in a good place. And when COVID hit, we were like, oh, what's all this going to happen? But as soon as we started back up afterwards, we were straight back in there and everyone was back. All the old members were back and we've had really good support from it. The only downside is it's very difficult to get volunteers to help you out. That's the only trouble. Every week I'm there at 5 o'clock, putting 97 quite heavy 1 by 1 meter mats down. And then every evening at the end, I'm putting all those mats away. And when you're there from 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock on a Tuesday every week, it can take its toll a little bit.
I'm going to call you out on that, Matt, because if you took that T-shirt of yours off, you are ripped to death. I'm sure pulling a few mats out that way a little bit is just second nature to you.
It's the only day I don't actually train in my gym is Tuesdays because I don't need to. Because I tend to normally I'll walk there, which is about an hour's walk, and then I'll put all the mats out, and that's my workout because I'm having an overhead and this and the other, and then train the kids judo. It's like the amount of effort it actually does to train these kids. Like you're constantly moving around, demonstrating things over and over again. And then putting all the mats away. Sometimes I'll fight with the adults and join in on the adults class. Sometimes I'll sit and just watch it and calm down a little bit and then put the mats away and then walk back home. So that's my Tuesday training. Like, yeah.
Is that even if it's raining, do you still walk?
No. Then I might, maybe I'll do a little bit on my exercise bike when I get home.
So, what's your advice on someone, Captain Sparky? So, what's your advice on someone overweight who wants to work out but doesn't have the dedication or mindset to do so?
Okay, so this one for me is quite a simple concept, but it's something I had to learn. A little bit of history, which will probably bore some people, but I'll start here, and then you can understand where I come from on this. My mindset was in a terrible place, right? My mindset was an awful place. I was never, ever. The person I am now was never the person I was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I've got an awful lot of demons. Not as bad as a lot of people, but there's always something going on in the back of my mind. My mind is ticking along 24/7. And I was massively overweight. I was 110 kilos, which is 17 stone. And for someone at 5'9", that's quite a heavy set body, especially when it was around my waist. I was 38-inch waist. And my son wanted to go climbing. We started rock climbing. It was a lot of weight on your fingers and stuff like that. It's quite hard work at that weight. We went to Snowdon and we did Mount Snowdon. And it took me 7 hours to go up it. And I was huffing and puffing. It was awful, absolutely awful. Worst experience of my life. And then when I went to the zip lines, they put a parachute on because they said, you're too heavy. You're going to go down the zip lines too fast. You've got to have this parachute. And I was like, this is embarrassing. But I didn't know what to do. And then I was in Chelmsford because I'm an Essex guy. And I was up there just a bit of shopping. And Ant Middleton was in there doing a book signing from the SAS Who Dares Wins.
Yeah.
And we went in there and I thought, I quite like the show. My friend was on the show, first series of the show. So I sort of wanted to go and see him and say hello and sort of get his book anyway. And I went in there and we had this chat. He signed the book and he was like, what's going on with you? And we were in there probably about half an hour. He just stopped the book signing, was chatting to me for about half an hour with my son about my mindset and about my weight and just saying, like, you just got to have small goals, just break things down. Don't look at the big picture. Yes, you've got a lot of weight to lose, but you don't want to be focusing on that because if you focus on that, it's beyond your control, and anything beyond your control, those habits are very difficult to keep going. You're not going to form a mindset of these things because any hiccup can disrupt it. And you think, what's the point? And this is where like binge eating and things like that comes in. So I read his book and I was chatting to him and I started following like David Goggins and stuff like this. These people who have got these hard mindsets of just like, you've just got to do this. You've got to do this. And I just broke it down into a simple concept of short-term goals, something that's 100% within your control to do. So regarding like training, you can make yourself go to the gym 3 times a week if that's what you want to do. You don't have to go to the gym to get fit. But if you want to get fit and go to the gym and you want to go 3 times a week, those things are 100% within your control. Drinking water is 100% a goal that you can have in your control. If you say, I've got to drink 2-3 litres of water a day, you can sit there and make yourself do that. You can record it, you can target, it's in your control. Saying I want to lose 1 pound a week, weight-wise, that's not in your control because hormones, sleep, stress, things can get in the way, stuff happens. That you may not lose a pound a week, and so that's a goal that's not in your control. So therefore, those aren't short-term goals you should set. But if you set these goals that are 100% within your control, and you form these habits like drinking water, over time you will build those things up. Once you've built those things up over a period of a couple of months, they become habits, become sort of almost like subconscious things you do. They're no longer the forefront of your thoughts every day. You're just doing it. It's part of your daily routine. Once you have those and you can build more habits and more habits and more habits, those short-term goals will always, you'll look a year and take photo, you'll look a year in advance of that and you'll be like, oh my God, the change in me is unbelievable. From short-term goals that you've just controlled. And it's all these little things. Those are like, you don't look at a mountain and think, I'm going to climb over that mountain. You look and say, well, I've got to go up this step first, and then this step, and then this step. And that's how you get over a mountain. So anything short-term. And honestly, those type of mindsets, when I started running, and it was a case of that was the hardest thing I've ever done. Like running was awful. But I was like, if I can just make the next lamppost, and then the next lamppost, and then all of a sudden those lampposts were like, if I can make the next 100 yards or 200 yards or 300 yards without having to walk, then I've achieved something. And then you start building up, and then it's like, okay, you've done 5K without having to walk it all of a sudden. You're like, these things snowball, and they do snowball. But anyone who says you've got to train a certain way and you've got to do this and you have to eat all this type of stuff, I've got the world's worst diet, but I control my calories to a point where I know that I'm going to lose weight or maintain my weight, depending on what I'm doing at the time. But I'd say anyone who struggles to have no motivation or discipline, motivation is a really hard thing to control because emotion gets in the way of motivation. And motivation is fleeting. You'll either have it in abundance or none at all, different times of your life. But habits can form, and you can control short-term goals. Sorry, you can control those things, and once you form those build up. I lost a lot of weight in the first year. I got invited up to Gymshark's headquarters. They'd never done a public event up there before. I don't know if you know Gymshark, but they're like a big clothing brand. They've got a massive gym they built in Birmingham, and I got invited up there the first time they ever opened it to the public. There was about 15 of us. Just because of the transformation I've made. And honestly, the people I met there, they're some of my best friends now as well, because they're all people who have had to go through a similar change with their weight and their mindsets. And it's a really good, like, trans community, invert community. It's a similar sort of type of people, very, very supportive.
I think, with me, I'm very early into that journey.
Yeah.
When I went and stepped on the scales, I was 17.5 stone.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, right, I'll join a gym. I'll go 3 times a week. I'll eat berries through the day, fruit through the day. Yep. I'll have a bit of carb at the evening. And mate, I felt awful for about 2 weeks.
Yep.
I felt really just tired and drained. And I was going, no, this carb deficit, this calorie deficit, all this, I've got to be doing that. And now, like you said, I've kind of gone, all right, so this ain't going to work. My body don't want this. I don't want this. And the thing I was doing was go down the gym, come back home, take my t-shirt off, look in the mirror and go, fuck, all's changed.
Yeah. So this is the other thing. So I do a lot of Facebook Live things in this group I'm in. Like, I'm an admin. There's 5 of us who are admin in this group and we've
what's the group?
It's called My Fitness Pal UK and NutriCheck support group. I think if you Google that, if you Facebook that, you'll find it on there. It's the unofficial one. But we've got about 25,000 members, okay? And the reoccurring theme all the time is everyone sees things like Weight Watchers or Slimming World and all these things about, you see these adverts for people losing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pounds a week. It doesn't work like that. It's a slow process, and you have to set yourself these targets that it takes time. You didn't put 17 stone on overnight. You aren't going to lose 17 stone overnight. And that is one of the things all the time that we constantly bring up, okay?
that makes sense because I put the majority of my weight on through lockdown.
Yeah, so it's taken 2 years to build up, right?
And prior to that, I was slightly overweight because obviously going from like not eating much to having a full-time job and having the money to go, yeah, we'll have a takeaway.
Yep.
Oh, we'll have a takeaway tonight as well. It did. It must have took a good 3 years to get to 17 and a half stone.
It does. And the thing is, and what you'll find is because the average man, right? I don't want to quote sort of specific numbers because it doesn't work that way. Everyone's unique, but an average man will be about 2,000 to 2,500 calories, say, like, you know, someone who's about 70 kilos, whatever. It takes 3,500 calories approximately to put on 1 pound of fat. So the excess to go up, you're not going to eat. You know, you can eat over 3,500 calories by going to somewhere like Five Guys, but you'd have to eat that breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which I'd quite like to do anyway. But that's only going to put 3 pounds on if you're still eating all your other food. Like, you know, it's over your maintenance level, 3,500 calories over your maintenance level to add approximately 1 pound of fat. It's going to take a while. So people who sort of, you don't put food on overnight, but weight on overnight from excess food. It's the constant, you know, over a long period of time. And that you have to understand with weight loss, it works in reverse at a slow pace and you have to be consistent. Then people say, well, they're consistent 5 days a week. They have a Saturday night. They want to go out and drink and this and the other or eat a takeaway. Fine. But what you have to realize is you may not put on Sunday, you're going to weigh yourself and go, ugh. And then Sunday, you're going to be, because you're that night, you're going to be like, well, I'm going to eat again crap. And then all of a sudden you escalate. You have to
let me just stop you there for 2 seconds. Vanessa is off to bed, I think. Night, Vanessa. Yeah. Happy birthday, Vanessa. And if we could just light up the chat with happy birthday, Vanessa, and happy birthday, Amy, because it's both their birthdays today. Yes. That would be absolutely awesome.
Yeah, and hope everything goes okay, Vanessa, for everything that's going on at the moment. Yeah, definitely. But no, what I was going to say was it takes a long time to come off, but people want instant results. You want to buy a new kettle with Boris Johnson's advice, you're going to go to Amazon, you're going to buy it, it's going to turn up tomorrow or tonight by 10 p.m. Weight loss doesn't work that way. And unfortunately, you have to be consistent. But with regards to binging at the weekend, people see it and go, oh, what's the problem? I might as well do that again tomorrow and then again tomorrow and again. Just it's long-term trends is what you want to look at. And these things can be trackable if you use the apps to track what you're eating. You know,
I don't use the apps or anything, and I've lost a stone so far. I don't know, it's probably a little bit more than that now, but I've gone from like I'll come home from work, and the missus would do spaghetti bolognese. I'd have a massive plate filled with cheese over the top. I'd eat that, and then I'd eat whatever the wife left as well.
Yeah.
Now I come home, I have 3/4 of the size that I used to with no cheese, and I won't touch any of the missus's.
Yeah.
If we have a kebab, I will have kebab meat only, no chips, no naan like I used to, and I'll have a little side salad, like I'll say big fat side salad to go with it as well.
Yeah.
But that's what's working for me because you know my body kind of misses it, and
right. So this is the point. You don't want to deprive yourself, because if you deprive yourself of all these things,
hey, Jamie,
you'll crash and you'll just fall out and you won't do it again. But these small changes you'll make, what will happen is it's like stepping stones. Again, like the steps up a mountain type analogy. You're doing what you're doing at the moment, but what you might find is when your weight loss starts to slow down, you might think, okay, you want to add something else into that routine to help move on a bit more, and you do more things. But there's no point trying to do everything at once, because if you do everything at once, it becomes far too much. And this is where most people struggle with doing it. You know, diet culture is hugely toxic because of that.
For me, 30 changes, not happening.
No.
1 change, 2 changes, yeah. And once you've settled into it, they're not changes anymore, like you said, the habit. So then you can make another one. But going to the gym 3 times a week, for me, it was like physically destroying me, because I'd go and train chest and tries, and then I'd go back to the gym to do shoulders, and I couldn't lift the weights because my body was still exhausted from the chest.
Yeah.
So I'm going like once a week at the moment, but I went from doing 15 minutes on the cycle machine to being absolutely tired, walking down those stairs with my legs shaking. Now I can blitz out an hour, and I don't really shake only on leg day when I come down those stairs to come out of the gym now.
I don't understand why most gyms, like Pure Gym, have always put their leg equipment up a flight of stairs.
That's where I'm with. Yeah, I'm with that. But I mean,
Right.
the thing with me, when you know, I'm still fat. Even when I was fatter, I was happy being fat. I was quite happy, quite content, eating loads.
Yep.
I just thought I've done a lot to my body over the years, especially with drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
Now I'm 43. I need to start thinking about this second part of life.
For the kids.
Sorry?
For kids mainly. One of the things is look after yourself for your kids.
Yeah, and I want to be able to be the old bloke who had kids quite old, running around still after him on the football field and all the rest of it.
Yep.
And the way I was going, that weren't going to happen.
No, I mean, I was a judo coach still when I was 110 kilos, yeah? And trying to train at 110 kilos was a nightmare. The only people who hate the fact I've lost the weight are the other people I train with, are the adults, because now I'm moving around and I'm throwing myself all over the place. And they're like, I preferred you when you were slow and unfit. I think Captain Sparky put something in the chat a minute ago asking about some cardio workout recommendations. But see, there's two sides of it. You've got your muscular side that you want to obviously build, because having more muscle mass burns more calories because it's not an efficient way to have a body type. So it does aid weight loss. But for cardio, literally start with walking. Just start with walking. Put walking out there. Get out. It's a good thing to clear your head, reset your mind as well. You can put headphones on and just shut yourself off. Listen to a podcast, do a bit of walking, maybe do a bit of an exercise bike. If you want to get into more like functional fitness where you're doing a bit of high heart rate workouts, you want to start looking at more like a CrossFit style workout. I don't necessarily mean go and join a CrossFit gym, because a lot of them are nut jobs. But you know,
I had an anxiety attack on the bike because I was on the bike, checked my heart rate, it's going at 142, and I'm thinking, oh, yeah, that's all right. And then I looked on this chart that they've got, and it said for my age I shouldn't be going above 140, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna die. So I slowed down a bit and got it below that 140 again. Mate, I was like, what do I do here?
If I use my exercise bike right at home, because I when lockdown happened, I basically pushed my entire contents of my garage into 2 skips, and I had a fund for Florida, and I basically said, look, I can't not have a gym access when lockdown happens. So I said to the wife, look, I'm going to have to dig into this Florida fund. I can't do it, and I kitted a gym out. So I'm not a member of any. I use mine at home. I've got my own place. I'm really fortunate I had that money, and I've got my own gym in my garage now. But when I'm on my exercise bike, when I'm on my exercise bike, honestly, I have some days where I'll get my heart rate up to 172, and honestly, it's a scary heart rate. At that, right, I'm 46, so it's like, yeah, that's But I wouldn't have been able to do that. The only time I reckon is when I was unfit and I was trying to go up Snowdon. They might have reached 172 then, but that was just due to the fact that my heart was going, please don't do this to me anymore.
Well, that was one of the things, because I mean, I went for a walk before trying to lose weight with my friend, and we were going over this hill, and I think I got halfway up it, and I could feel my heart pumping. I was thinking, I'm too high up. My body's lacking oxygen. I can't do this. And then I just stopped, started breathing properly, started taking in some breath of air, and then I was like, oh yeah, we can.
Yeah.
The other thing for me as well, Matt, was I wasn't used to being out of breath. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a scary thing when you. What you'll find, going back to like something like judo or martial arts in general, because it's not judo. I've done Brazilian jiu-jitsu as well, but whenever you're in that position, you have to get used to being comfortable in the uncomfortable, and heart rate and not being able to breathe properly. The amount of people that end up having panic attacks when they feel pressure from another human being trying to sort of throw them into the floor. It can make you really anxious because you don't know what's going on. It gives heart palpitations. You start getting out of breath. You panic, and you can spiral.
What cracked me up was when I first started doing the bike as well. 15 minutes and I'd be off, and there was somebody else on there, and he kept going. and now we're doing an hour. The amount of people that come on for 5 minutes and then they disappear again, and I'm thinking,
it doesn't take long for the cardiovascular system to improve. It really doesn't. It takes a lot less time to get that sorted than actually to sort the rest of your body.
So, I mean, going back to previously, the old me would, at dinner time, I would be buying, a breakfast baguette.
Yeah,
which is everything. I don't do that anymore. I'll go for a protein bar or an apple or something like that, But the only thing I really, really miss that I've stopped completely is fizzy drinks. I really, really miss Coca-Cola.
Right. I actually stopped having any Coke, any alcohol or anything like that for about 2 years. But I have Coke Zero now, but it's only because it's like a case of where I am now. I know I can maintain it and not be as strict, But yeah, I mean, I'll drink alcohol now again. It's like, but I'm not a big drinker. I'll just drink it every now and then. And it's a case of, look, I know what I can do now. I know that it's not going to. I think a lot of people they feel that if they go down a road and they've got trigger foods or trigger drinks and things like that, you're best staying away from them, because if that triggers you to go on a like if you have a couple of beers and then think I'm going to get a kebab, it's a trigger food, isn't it? It's a trigger drink. These decisions, you make poor decisions. And if some people avoid chocolate, you don't need to avoid chocolate. But if chocolate makes you have more chocolate, and then that chocolate makes you go for biscuits, and those biscuits makes you go for crisps, don't have chocolate.
Holmesy, my favourite machine at the gym is the vending machine. Well, that's it. I mean, my best mate, he's like the same size as me, and he's got no intention of going to the gym. And he'll tell you, no, I'm happy being fat. I'm going to stay fat, and I'm happy. And for anybody watching, this isn't like putting any pressure on you guys. Don't think it is. But if you need a hand, Matt's obviously got this Facebook group up and running. If one of the moderators could drop that link into the chat, that would be absolutely awesome.
One of the things I also did during lockdown, because I'm one of those people, like you said earlier, that if I do something, I delve straight into it, right? And I want to know, I want to learn. So I didn't go to university when I left college because I wanted to go and get a job, because I just didn't do very well in my A levels. But I promised my dad I'd get a degree at some point. And when my dad got ill, I decided, right, I'm going to get my degree before anything happens to my dad. So I went off and went to university and did my maths degree at like 40 or 30. I got my maths degree probably 8 years ago. I finished it whilst I was working full time. But while lockdown, I get bored if I'm not doing something. And I actually qualified as a personal trainer as well. So that's another thing, because I wanted to know the ins and outs of my body and know what I could do with it. So I made sure that I knew by going on and qualifying as a personal trainer, which I sort of got through just after lockdown lifted. I went and did my practical assessments. But yeah, it's I now need something else to do. Tarantulas and inverts are like are consuming my time now. I have to have something to do, otherwise I get very, very bored and I become horrible.
I think you're pretty lucky there, because there is literally so many. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Jackie's just put a super chat, and let me just get that one up. Matt, I used to do kickboxing 4 times a week, but that's before my invisible disability put a stop to it. I was skinny, very active. I'm almost 50.
Oh yeah, I used to do a little bit of Muay Thai as well with my jiu-jitsu, because it was at the same gym. It's awesome, but kickboxing is quality. That's a good workout. That's a good workout.
See, I mean, my fear was going back into the gym and not having the muscles like I did when I left there 10 years ago. And that's why I went first times and all the rest of it by myself. Yeah. Because I knew I had to cross that hurdle. I had to go in there. I had to walk past all the geezers, all the artists, and all got the muscles. And
yeah,
I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to do what I've got to do.
Thing is, weight loss and gym, it's like people. It's quite it's very emotional.
She says squats are best for letting out the farts.
Mark manages it without squatting, doesn't he? He squats to one side. They're almost like side planks. Mark is with his. Those things on a Saturday night send shivers through YouTube. With weight loss and stuff being quite an emotional topic, a lot of people won't they don't want to join a Facebook group to talk about things. What I will say about that group that I admin is, it's a private group, and it is everything in there is kept in the group. But if people don't feel comfortable I'm always willing to give people advice, give them links, send a document to you, send links to things that you can read and videos you can watch and stuff like that. If anyone ever wants to message me, honestly, I don't, I would never not give free advice to people, because it is, I know how hard it is. I've been through it. And me going through it myself, I think this is the trouble with, say, for example, people who are very fit, who become personal trainers and stuff. They haven't seen the other side. They haven't been unfit before. So I'm always willing to try and help people, sort of like, if they want to help with doing something or know where to start, just message me. You can message me on Instagram. You could message me on the WhatsApp group, or you can use my number and message me on there. You can message me on Facebook. Honestly, my inboxes are open no matter where you are, and if I can help, I will, even if it's just directing someone in the right direction with to someone who's got the knowledge.
I think the other thing for me was I could always talk a good gym session. Always like, I'm going to join the gym the end of this month, and something had happened and be like, I can't this month, I'll do it next month. And it was 4 months before I actually I joined, and then when I joined it, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks before I actually went.
I think one of the biggest things they could do to sort out this country and their recession is anyone who's got a gym membership that doesn't actively use the gym, just cancel your gym membership. It will raise so much funds nationally. The amount of people who are members and don't. Yeah. Let me find the group. I'll share the group. I'll do that right now for you. Be easier because I know where it is.
Yeah, we've had 20 minutes into the moistness as well. So we've been swearing from 9 o'clock, and the amount of Scots or wankers I've seen in the chat has been unbelievable. Thank you so much.
There you go. Look, we're seeing as it's becoming a thing now on a Tuesday night. Okay. You're welcome, everyone. Right, let me find. Oh, right. It is, sorry, I can't, for some reason, my phone won't let me actually get the URL for the Facebook group, but it's the MyFitnessPal UK support group, unofficial NutriCheck calorie counting. I think Chris has got the link.
Chris has got it there, yeah.
Let me chat on that.
Literally, if it's something private or if it's hidden away, Chris will find the link.
Yes, that's the group. That is the correct one. So, but feel free if you want to join that, and even if someone wants to join it just so they can then message me privately, it's like you'll be able to find me anywhere. But honestly, I hate seeing people struggle in silence with anything, and I help anyone wherever I can.
Before we go into messaging, Matt, are you single? Are you married?
Me, I'm married. I've got a family. I've got a son, 17.
So so the girls, he's very attractive, but unfortunately, he's actually married.
My wife might be quite pleased to pass me off to someone else. I'm a handful. I'm a handful. Not in that sense. I'm not a handful in that sense. That's for sure. But yeah, she might be quite happy to sort of like share me about a little bit.
So going back to the spiders, what did you say you're on? Is it 62?
Just under 60, yeah, just under 60. We had a couple of losses, which I was gutted about. I don't take loss very well, but I know
it happens to every single one of us.
Yeah, but yeah, I've got mostly new worlds, but I do have a few spicy ones. We've got quite a few slings, and then we've got quite a few jubies as well, and 1 or 2 sort of sub-adults. Yeah, we've got 50. I think it's 55 tarantulas. We've got 2 mantises. We have 1 jumping spider. We have 1 bearded dragon. We have 1 royal python. We have 1 crested gecko. I have about 1 billion darkling beetles, about 1 billion roaches, and we have 4 dogs. We have 1 horse, and we have about 60 to 100 koi outside in an 11-foot by 4-foot pond. Yeah, that was fun to do. Yeah, but all the fish have been donated to us. All the fish are like rescue. People who didn't want ponds anymore, just like, oh, you've got a pond. Would you mind taking my koi on? It's like, I can do, but I'm not paying you for them. And they're like, no, it's fine. And it's like, so we've got quite a few koi in our pond that didn't cost us anything, which is, quite nice.
Where my parents go fishing, they're fishing lakes like that. They've got goldfish, koi, all sorts in there, but people have just come along, thrown in over the years.
We've got 4 dogs at the moment. We did have 8. We are a failed fosterers. We help out a rescue, like a rescue centre near us, and when they're overflown, they sort of come to us and say, "Can you please take one?" And we haven't got kennel space. And it's like, yeah, we'll take them on short term. Normally over Christmas and Halloween and things like that, we always end up with extra dogs. But 4 of them have never gone back. Like 4 of them became ours. They're ours. But yeah, it's quite strange. We only did that because when we started doing it, my son was quite young, and it was quite a good way to sort of like, we're going to get attached to this dog, and then it's going to go to a new home. And it was quite a good way of getting over that sort of like not loss, but understanding that you don't have things with you forever type thing. It was quite good for him. We didn't deal with it very well as adults, me and my wife. We ended up keeping most of them. Like, the horse is hers. The horse isn't mine. That's our biggest enclosure that we have.
Is it just judo that you trained? Kale asked if you'd done MMA as well.
I didn't do MMA. Well, I did train at a gym that was under an MMA banner, but I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai, but I never actually did anything in the cage or MMA work. But a lot of like no-gi stuff, Greco-Roman wrestling, and yeah, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Unfortunately, my math degree got in the way with my Jiu-Jitsu, and priorities came along. I couldn't not run the judo club because I was the chairman of it, and I couldn't not do my degree. So something had to give. I will go back to it, but at the moment, I just haven't got the time. But I did enjoy it. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is hard. It's one of those. I like those sort of things, and it's the same with the tarantulas and inverts. I think I like the sort of things where they're almost like you're constantly solving problems. It's that, you know, you're trying to understand something about how you've got to set this up, how you've got to keep an environment right, and stuff like that. With that chess match, it's real right technical. I like things that keep my brain ticking over, because my brain otherwise, if it's left to its own thoughts, can run wild, shall we say. I think Chester Benfield said it best. He said, in here is not a good place to be if you haven't got anything to think about.
Yeah, that's very true. Very, very true. So my mate, he's just gone back to doing judo, jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts after, I think, 8 years away. Yeah. But in those 8 years, he did fishing and photography and all the rest of it. And some of the pictures of the fish that he's caught are like, you know, magazine quality pictures, you know. Yeah. And he said to me, he says, I can't do anything by halves. He said, if there's a fish in a lake that's well known, he says, I've got to catch it.
Yeah.
And keep going back until he does. I've got one of my friends, he now lives in Australia. He was the judo champion, European judo champion in the late 90s.
I think I remember you mentioned it to me. I know him and stuff. Yeah, I've heard his name. Yeah, because he lives quite near you, didn't he?
I went to school with him.
Yeah. I remember you asking me about it. I sort of recognised the name, but I sort of didn't know him because I think it was a little bit before sort of my time. When I was doing it as a kid, I sort of didn't really sort of know a lot of the big. I was just doing it as a hobby. But obviously, I know a lot of the Olympians now, and I know quite a lot of the high level guys.
He was a very, very good friend. He was a year above me at school, and I can remember this is back in the times when obviously, you know, what police, what security television.
Yeah.
I was actually getting mugged by 2 older lads, and they were quite taller than me as well. James wasn't. James only come up to about here, and I was getting mugged in the bus station. Right. He appeared out of nowhere. These 2 lads went flying, and it was all over in seconds.
Yeah, and
I was like, wow, that was just incredible. But he didn't. He just threw them out of the way. He didn't hurt them. Just you know, he just showed his presence. He didn't, like when one was on the floor, he didn't jump on him or punch him in the face or anything. He literally just said, "This stops now."
Yeah. There's it's good the control that we teach. The good thing about judo with kids is the fact there is no punching. A lot of parents are like, I want my kid to learn how to defend themselves, but I don't want them learning how to beat someone up. And that's where the judo is like the ideal sport for that, because you are literally learning someone attacks you, you defend yourself, you put them on the ground, and you hold them down in a position where you've got full control over them. It does hurt a little bit on a car park floor compared to a nice soft like mat, but the kids, most of them don't end up ever having to use it because they gain the confidence to stand up to people, and nothing ever arises from it. As you know, if you stand up to a bully, normally they back away.
In Coventry, they come back with friends. Yeah, it's one of those situations like
changed a lot, hasn't it? Yeah, I mean nowadays it's like, you know, you stand up to a bully, you might get kidneys like have a leakage coming from them because someone shivs you in the side. But
very much so. Yeah,
it's scary out there, but still better to have the tools. The best defense for anything is to run away.
Yeah,
you know, bullies are there. You get circled by bullies. You find the smallest one. You push them out of the way and run straight through the gap and don't look back.
Can we fill up the chat with happy birthday to Amy now she's back, please? That would be absolutely awesome.
But yeah, I was going back to the MMA stuff. I've not trained MMA, but I've trained with a lot of high level people. One of my if you do follow MMA, one of the guys who I'm sort of quite good friends with, who trained at the gym I was training jiu-jitsu at, is Arnold Allen, and he's actually in the UFC. One of the top UK prospects in the UFC. He's absolutely awesome guy. He used to work train out of Ipswich.
That's a big statement.
And Colchester, and he got picked up. Dana White basically messaged him and said, "Are you at fight weight? Because we've got a cancellation in Germany." He's like, "I'm always at fight weight." Shipped out to Germany, won his first fight, got a contract with the UFC, and the rest is history with him.
That is a big statement because obviously Paddy the Baddy Pimblett is up there.
Oh, Paddy's awesome. Paddy's awesome. Arnold Allen's in
met Paddy?
I haven't met him, no, but I've what I love about him is his humility and his whole mental health advocate. You know, he's so good for that. Seems like a top bloke. Arnold's the same, like Arnold Allen. He's the same. Very, very humble guy. Literally, he's just trained out of the UK for many, many years, and now trains out in the US quite a lot. But yeah, he's quite a cool guy. I've trained with a lot of like high level people, like Andre Galvão, big Brazilian jiu-jitsu, multiple world champion. Braulio Estima was one of my coach's coach. Trained with him a few times, and his brother. The Estima brothers. Quite a lot of people like that. So it's nice to have a big wide thing, but it's funny, you sort of lose contact with these sort of people very, very quickly. You have to find. I think with this invert community, sort of you find your niche, and these people are sort of, you feel more connected with them. You don't feel like if you stop doing something for 5 minutes, you're going to lose that connection with those people. If you know what I mean. With that community, you tend to. If you're out of it for a little while, very difficult to get back into it with those people. Whereas it's more like you step away for a year, you come back and it'll be the same. The people will be the same. The same, and no one treats you different.
Captain Sparky, I've met Paddy and Darren.
Yeah.
And they're both the same, some of the nicest, humble people I've ever met. Didn't get me time with them. From what I had, they were lovely.
I think Arnold Allen's training out of TriStar Gym.
Oh, hi, Jack.
Yeah.
You see, the problem with me when I was training it all 10 years ago, people would come in and we'd go over to Birmingham, go to the Gracie Barra gym and stuff like that. But I was taking
those place.
And because I was taking the steads, I didn't give a fuck who I was meeting. Just a quick shake of hands, and it could have been anybody.
Yeah.
I know I've met one of the Gracie family, but I can't remember which one it was.
So Braulio Estima's gym Braulio Estima is the one who runs Gracie Barra Birmingham. So that would have been his place probably. His brother runs the one out of Nottingham.
Yeah. On the main street of Birmingham it is. You go up the stairs to it.
Yeah. I've had a few seminars over there, like stuff. Yeah. He's a cool guy. He was one of the first guys in the country to sort of like bring Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu over and make it what it is really. Him and Nick Brooks out of he was under Hodger Gracie. Hodger's like down in London way, and Nick Brooks was under him and ran a place for a good number of years. Unfortunately, Nick passed away like not so long ago. But yeah, it's you're right, Ellie. But yeah, he's there's a lot of nice guys in it, but you just don't, that's their thing. They're so into it that you can't, once you're out of the community, it's like you're out the way. Very strange.
Yeah, that is one thing with the invert community. You can drop out for God knows how long, and you're still welcome straight back in again.
you see people sell their collections, don't you? And then come back like 3 or 4 years later, and everyone is still like, "Oh, welcome back, nice to see you again." Yeah, you know, I've only been sort of keeping inverts a very, very short time, but you sort of you get a feel for people, and you sort of, I like this, I like what I feel. If that makes, if that doesn't sound too rude. It's the community. I've definitely clicked with it, and it's one I hope to be around in quite a few years. You know,
it's the shows are just
100%,
something else, absolutely something else.
Always too busy, always too short time of people, but brilliant days.
They could put the show over like the whole weekend, and it's still we'd all still be like, "Oh, you could have done it for the whole week."
Can you imagine though, a Sunday after a Saturday night out with the people in the community? The Sunday of the show, everyone would be hanging. Everyone would be hanging.
Strange you should mention that, because the Coventry show, if people are staying in hotels,
yeah,
I think we're gonna have a little meet up the night before. So whoever's going to be coming over to Coventry, message me or in the WhatsApp chat in the groups, whatever you want to do. We are going to have a meet up. We've got Ellie bobbing around. We've got the Dutch. They're coming over for a takeover. Either Bristol or BTS, which is Jack, Osman, Vivian.
Yeah.
Which will be
cool.
Awesome. Will be cool. Because again, this community is not just restricted to one country; it goes global.
Well, this is the thing I noticed. I don't know if you saw like Petco's video on Monday, where he's gone over to the US, hasn't he, for the Animal Con? And when you see all the Canadians and different people from different parts of the US have all met up, it's just nice for that sort of thing to happen. I've only ever had that happen once in my life. I went over to Dallas to play in a Xbox tournament. I flew all the way from Heathrow to Dallas for a weekend. That was probably an extremely strange thing to do. People I'd never met in my life before, just to go and compete with them in a competition. It was, it was weird, very weird. Long flight.
Where did you finish?
We didn't do too bad. I think we got through to the final day. It was like over the Saturday and Sunday. I can't remember. It was 2012, but it was a Halo tournament. It was MLG, so we'd gone and played in MLG, like Major League Gaming thing. But it was only come around because I made a stupid comment in a forum one day and said, "Look, if I fly over there, will people from the US come and meet at this hotel? If I'm coming this far, you guys can all get together. You only got to drive or get short flights." And everyone's like, "Yeah, we'll do it." And we took over 2 floors in this hotel. It was it was a 13-hour flight or something like that. It was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Just for a weekend.
Just the shows. It's just like everybody that you talk to that you don't see like on a weekly basis are just like, boom, they're there.
Yeah. It was good fun. It was good fun. It was good to get the community together. It was fun. That was a good laugh. Memories are the most important thing anyway.
I need to take this chair to the Coventry show really and just sit there squeaking it in the corner.
Get everyone to sign it.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty cool idea, wouldn't it?
You get everyone to sign it and auction it off. There you go. That's a cool idea, actually. That'd be pretty good.
Similar to seeing the likes of Mark, Leah, Terry, Dave, Beth, and others in the foyer at Taunton show, chilling and chatting. Not just YouTubers, Mark. Just everybody. Just all of us.
What was nice was that I think it was Bristol, where Mark was there, and he wasn't sure whether he'd be able to make it because I don't think Victoria was very well, and he wasn't sure. And it was like, so when people saw him there and Victoria there, it was like, this is brilliant. Like, so nice to see him there, and it's sort of like, that was cool. That was nice. That was good. Yeah, Taunton was good. Taunton was a good show. I think I picked up. That was where I met Spider Provider for the first time as well, because he was I think that was his first ever show, wasn't it? And he was doing his Davos Pentaloris slings for like super cheap. At the end of the day, I think it was 2 for a £5. And those things are growing like weeds. They're brilliant. Probably one of my favourite spiders out of all of them now. Just because they were so small, and now seeing them actually, they look like you can actually see their legs and stuff.
He's pretty cool, is Mark.
He's a nice guy. Yeah, nice guy.
I think him and Luke from Spar Spiders have both said if anybody breeds anything, give them a message. Because they'll always look at buying stuff in bulk.
That was funny because as soon as Luke loaded up, I can't even remember what one it was, but when you search Luke's site and you search it alphabetically, it was the first spider that came up. It was one of the baboons, I think. The nice yellow thing, beginning with an A. I can't think what spider it was now. But as soon as that went up, I was like, I bet that's Dave's egg sac, Dave Fisher's egg sac. And it was like, yeah, and they look lovely. They look really nice, those things. Dave said they're quite easy to breed as well. So he was saying they should be everybody's like, get them to breed them because really easy to breed, even though they're a baboon, like good spider to deal with.
And creatures from the north as well will also buy loads of stuff in bulk, even LPs, agens, curly hairs, anything.
Yeah. I do want. I think I wasn't one of these people that were thinking I'll go down the breeding route, but I definitely think I'll do it probably once just to have the experience of doing it. And I think if I can find a female for my male, the Nandu that of TikTok fame, I think I'd like to do that one because it'd be quite cool for him.
I'm quite happy. A lot of people say to me about breeding, and I'm like, I'm not into breeding as much as I am keeping.
Yeah,
I prefer to be keeping. I'm not fussed if mine's female or male because if there's a mature male that I get, you can normally find somebody with a female.
And the thing is, at the end of the day, I think it depends on how you look at them, doesn't it? If you look at them, I look at my, even though I've got a small collection, but all of them are pets. And so if I've got a male, I'm going to look after it. I'm going to look after it and give it an appropriate enclosure, one where it's happy. Well, I say happy, one where it can thrive until it passes away in my care. Hopefully, that will be quite an old age and it will do its thing. Just let nature take its course. I think the thing with the female side of things, I think it's made. When I first joined the hobby, it was one of the weird things. I could understand people want to buy a cheap spider and have it for as long as possible, but at the end of the day, does it really matter if you some of these spiders? I don't particularly want to keep a spider till I'm like 80 years old.
Oh, I don't know. Ian says, I have a curly hair egg sac. I'll most likely give a load away at the Southern Invert show on our table. Ian, if you want to give your table a shout out, mate, go for it.
I love curly heads. I actually,
massively underrated.
I love them. That was the second spider we got, the Midlands Entomology show from Mark's Tea Room. He had them and he was doing them super, super cheap. Basically wanted to. I think with Mark, he's one of these people who's like he wants to get people having spiders, so he'll do them at a really good price, and he's a really nice guy. And then I got another one from Portsmouth. And then I got another one from Bethany when she was sort of like selling a lot of the stuff off. We had another one from her. I love them. I think they're brilliant.
Mark's Tea Room, I've been to it. He's a lovely guy. Lovely guy.
Yeah.
There we go. Ian says, Scott, it's Ian Tarantula and Brackmar breedings.
Yep.
Always worth a good old chat with them guys.
That's Ian Wildman, isn't it?
Ian, I can't remember Ian's surname. I'll let him put it up on.
Yeah,
I'll let him put it in the chat if he wants to.
If that's Ian, I'm thinking it's Ian, then that'll be Ian who was at he was at Bristol, wasn't he?
Yeah, Brackmar Breedings with Graham.
Right. Okay. Yeah, different one. Okay, I know. I think we had a chat actually on at the stand because they were in the first hall at Bristol.
Bernadette says, "Hi, I'm from York. I've only just started with tarantulas. Welcome to the addiction. It is an addiction. Be warned." Yeah, he's just said it.
I'm living proof of how quickly it gets you.
It's Tarrant, Ian Tarrant.
Oh right, yeah. Okay, so that was different stands.
Tarantulas, Aaron says. I was in Bristol in the hot hall. Oh my god, that hall was hot as well, wasn't it? The second room.
Though, I tell you, it was weird because it was both of those were like you couldn't get away from it, could you?
No.
The amount of people that were standing outside by the car park bit just to have a breather. I bet the spiders were loving it.
Phew. The first room weren't too bad, but I think that was when you were in the second room, Ellie, with Leah. I don't know how you guys managed it all day.
Yeah, that was quite a nice show though, because I think they had a decent amount of room for the amount of people that were there. Whereas when BTS, it was mobbed, wasn't it, all day? I know it's a big show. But the trying to get to the front of the desks was a nightmare. At least with Bristol, you could get to each desk to see the spiders and things that were on the desks.
There used to be more at BTS. There used to be more sellers at BTS because obviously all the Europeans couldn't come over for this one.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think they'll be at CS again as well, will they? Next year they won't be at CS.
No, they won't be coming next year, unfortunately. Who knows for years to come?
It's just too expensive with licensing and getting through and all the red tape these days at the moment, isn't it? So a lot of things to answer for, but yeah, it's. But no, as far as the spiders go, I've started. It's weird because I was like, I got the spiders, then I got the mantises, then I got the beetles, and then I started getting live plants. And I haven't put a single live plant in any enclosure yet because I'm cultivating my plants. I want to start growing them and spreading them and getting seeds and things. Yeah, it does. It's not just the animals that become addictive. It's ridiculous. I've got pothos that I'm trying to sort of like duplicate and grow.
Pothos is so easy just to cut and repot.
Yeah, I've got rose in here. It's like it's gradually. You can see all these little bits that are coming off, and it's like this one's lovely. But all the little cuttings and just watching it grow. It's like I'm a strange human being. I like watching things grow and develop and stuff like that. Doesn't matter what it is really. Very, very odd.
How you plant stuff as well. I've got morning dew climbing upwards, which I find is really weird.
Yeah.
And like I've got ivy that's climbing down, but is not hooked up onto anything. It's completely free, which I'm like, why are you doing it in that tank? But your cutting is over here and it's climbed and it's stuck. Yeah, it's got like little feelers out and glued itself to the cork bark.
Yeah. My son did the only bioactive we've got is our cresty gecko. And he set up a bioactive for that, and it's
Night Victoria.
Yeah, Night Victoria. That was his bioactive setup he's made for his crested gecko is so impressive. For a kid to be sort of have that dedication to doing what he wants to do with it. It was such a nice setup. He's got Wandering View. He's got a bromeliad in there, and he's got all this different cork bark, all the different stuff. He's got isopods in there. He's got like the springtails, all sorts of stuff, and then he's got a lot of stuff from a place called Amphibipod, which do like 3D printed hides and feeding dishes and stuff like that. Really good website, worth checking out for anyone who's got things that they want to magnetize to glass enclosures. Huge, strong magnets on the outside, 3D printed hides and stuff like that, and they're around and stuff. Really good stuff. Amphibipod do. They've got Instagram. They're like really nice little company.
I love that planted tanks. I think they look epic.
Yeah.
Bromeliads. I mean, if they start kicking off, they look absolutely epic. In the wild, quite a large plant as well.
Yeah, they are. They are. They're
literally about 4 to 6 exoterras high.
We were concerned because he's got his bromeliad at the back of the tank, and we didn't know whether it was getting enough moisture or too much moisture or not enough light, too much light, because the flower died off. But what we found is it's getting so big that what's happened is it's actually grown from the bottom, and it's actually grown 2 new sprouts up, so it's sort of more grown into almost like a bush. And this thing, it's got two sprouts growing up now. It looks pretty impressive. Unfortunately, it's in one of the other rooms, and it's a huge tank that I can't move. I think it's, what is it? Is it 45 by 45 by 60? Yeah, 45 by 45 by 60 tank for it. Lovely little thing. Unfortunately, it was a rescue, and the actual cresty is super skittish and will not tolerate any handling of any sort. So just let it do its thing. It's got a lovely environment to sort of like be in, and don't worry about it. Leave it be. Our bearded dragon's is a rescue we took on board as well. Someone said they couldn't look after it. Did we want the tank and did we want the enclosure and all the bits and bobs with it? And we took that on board. And he's probably my. I shouldn't have favourites, but as far as characters go, the bearded dragon is hilarious. They've got such personalities. They really do. I can't. It brings a smile to my face. Anytime you get them out and let him wander around, they're just funny little creatures. You see all the stuff on Instagram and stuff where they're walking around with their little top hats on. They look like distinguished gentlemen. They'll chase the local, all sorts.
No, and more no. I can't. It's pet hate, and it all started because there were this couple, two ladies. They've blocked me now on Instagram, and they were putting hats on tarantulas and putting them in dolls' houses and stuff like that. And I was like, "The fuck are you doing?" And I must admit, I turned into a keyboard warrior at the end of it. Literally, like, I think you need medical help. This is fucking crazy. What the fuck are you doing? Literally, I went all out.
The thing with that is, it's not appropriate, and you see people doing these things. With the beardies, it's all like, they come out, they're moving around, they're quite characters. You see people who do that. Have you seen the ones where they've got the accounts where they sort of like draw? They sort of have the animal moving around. They draw, like animate the You've not seen the bird one? The bird with the like sitting there and he's doing his like directing traffic and stuff like that. No,
yeah, they're animated though, aren't they? They're not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like those things. They make me chuckle.
The usual one is like the jumping spider doing the old drumming.
Yeah.
And they animate things with it, but well, I don't know. When you put in actual hats on tarantulas and all the rest of it,
we're not one of these people that will ever go and buy yourself one of those like Batman masks or the dragon wing harnesses for a beardie, but having him out and letting him wander around and stuff, and watching him interact with the you put a locust on the floor. I've never seen any animal move as quick. It's so funny watching him move around the house. I think there's such a good personality animal. I'd recommend beardie. I know Chris was talking about he's got this clutch that's going on and stuff, and it's like I would have to have extreme. I don't think I've got enough willpower to resist taking on a baby at some point. But I think they're brilliant. I think they're amazing.
I suppose going back to like the animals with hats though, on Instagram, it makes people go, "Oh, who don't keep animals." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and have a look. Yeah, it'll bring. And this is what I was saying to you about the information versus entertainment thing earlier.
Yeah.
You've got people who watch it for entertainment, but they need the information. They need to have both. There has to be a balance of watching both. You can't just go one full and not the other. And that's where you get the huge channels. The huge channels that balance it well, like Tom Moran. He's very informative. Then you've got Petco, he does a lot of things that possibly aren't the best in the world with regards to like, enticing them out and irritating them to get a reaction. I don't agree with that myself, but at the end of the day, you're going to get views from it, and then people may realise eventually, actually, I wouldn't do that, but it will get them interested in the hobby, maybe.
I was talking to Urban Tarantulas on TikTok, and I did say to him, I said, Aaron, I don't approve of you handling Balfouris, handling spiders on your TikTok, all this, that, and stuff. I don't get it. I said, that's one thing that we are going to like disagree on. And he said, how else do you draw in a crowd to spiders, get them interested in spiders and get them interested in how to keep them, how to look after them, where to go to get them, and all the rest of it. He went, it's all about trying to draw people in, because then you have an audience of people that want to get into tarantulas, and then you can give them all the correct information on how you do it.
Yeah, exactly. You have to give them the carrot, and then you have to, but they have to be willing to be educated. That's the thing. There's a lot of people who will still get into a hobby and they'll want something, and then they won't take on any education. That's the downside. It's very
difficult sometimes, but there's more. I think there's more and more. I wouldn't say pressure. There's more and more interest about the care side of it now than what there was a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago, it wasn't as good as what it is now. That's for sure. But what I do know is, if I do a care video on any tarantula, 9 times out of 10, it's like 200 views.
Yeah.
if I do an unboxing video, it's going to hit up to 1,000 plus.
And the thing is with him as well, though, is
It's
if you
crazy.
post a video and whatever views it gets, if there's an update to some research that says actually this now we found that this isn't the case, you'll update that.
Yeah.
And this is what you find with there's been a lot of advancement, hasn't there, with like lighting and heating and basking spots with a lot of reptiles, with snakes and things like this. We were chatting about this when Phil was doing something on. I can't remember who it was, but there was a discussion with regards to like the husbandry updates to an awful lot of ceramics with halogens and things like that. The advancements of UVB, whether animals require it or whether they could just have it for thriving and stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's the same. It's going to be the same with obviously the inverts. New information is going to come out all the time to their husbandry requirements.
Dark Haven says, "What about the Tarantula Collective?" Again, he does too. His website is fantastic. Him and Tom, I've got two amazing, informative websites. But now he's doing YouTube full time. He does also need that clickbait, and I can side with him on that because I can see why. Because he needs to carry on putting a roof over his family and bread on the table while running a YouTube channel full time. And if he just says, "I need to do a tarantula care video every week," people aren't going to watch that as much as some of the other stuff he does, like my pet tarantula video that he did last, and all the rest of it.
Where people have got
in chat, hey baby.
When people have got there's obviously very different styles to putting videos out on YouTube. There's always going to be. It doesn't matter what niche you're into. You've got a very particular way that you'll produce a video. Robbie will have a particular way he produces a video. Dave will always have behind a desk, camera lady holding the camera. He'll provide information in a very informative way. Phil will do voiceovers, or he'll sit there and he'll talk to the camera. He'll voice over while he's doing his rehousing from a different angle and things like that. Everyone's got a particular way. I think what Richard does really well with Tarantula Collective is he has got, because he was massively into doing videoing and photography and things like that, he has got thousands of high-tech dollars spent on his equipment. And when you see the stuff when he's talking over his videos, and it's highly edited, the lighting is highly done. You've got all these big light boxes you can't see, and they're always out on his table climbing over the rocks and stuff like this. It's a really attractive looking format, but that's his thing. But
then it's edited again before it gets uploaded as well, which is the annoying thing for me.
Yeah, he will, and some people don't like over edited videos, but I can see from Richard, for Richard, like that stuff for Tarantula Collective, I can see how he's got a real popular following, because his videos just look like you're watching a film a lot of the time. The color editing he does on it to make everything like saturated and things like that, it's a lot of time he'll put into those things. So fair play. When he decided he was going to give up work and actually do it full time, he has to produce production quality videos. Most people, like myself at the moment, I'm literally I will say that I'm a rookie, and the rookie part has come from the fact that I'm always learning stuff, and it's the case of I'm quite making sure that I will always ask people for information. My videos are more of my journey, me just rambling through a discussion, what I'm doing this week or whatever. If people enjoy watching that, then great, and some people will get information from it. It's more just like a bit of a mismatch of what I'm doing this week, and they're always rushed. I've got a load of stuff I've got to edit tomorrow morning while I'm at work for tomorrow night's video, but and you've got a particular format with your stuff. You do your lives, and then you've also got your care videos, and then you've got unboxing stuff you do. It's always, what you're getting with the channels, and you're never going to please everybody. I think is where
I try and change it up with care videos like I did with the last one, just to try and took myself out of it to try and give more focus on the actual spider on the last one. And a lot of people are like, it's not the same without you being in it. So now I'm like, okay, we'll go back in it. And what I normally do is, do a little intro, tell you what spider it is, give you the common names, and then go put up maybe the area of the world it's from, and then give you the footage of the forest area where they actually live in, and then go to some macro footage of the actual spider, or sometimes I don't even do the macro because the macro is good for real close-ups, but you also want to see the whole spider as well.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I haven't got thousands of pounds to be spending on lighting and stuff like that, so mine's quite raw, rough around the edges. But my channel, anybody could do it at home, which is what I've always wanted it to be.
Yeah, and that's what I really appreciate. I mean, that's what I like about your videos as well. It's the fact that you feel more invested because you feel like, well, this is me. This could be my house. I could be doing this. Whereas you don't feel that with somewhere like Dark Den. There's no way I'm going to have a basement with 3 rooms and the amount of enclosures in that sort of environment. I appreciate watching them, but it's not me. And I think that's where there's a different connection here. But yeah, I mean, I don't think people really appreciate, even with a raw video such as the stuff I've put up already, and like your stuff, Robbie's stuff, Phil's stuff, even Dave's stuff, the amount of effort and hours that actually has to go into producing those videos, even being, I won't say basic because they're not basic videos, but you know what I mean. They're more homely videos. The amount of stuff, I mean, it's time, it's hours just to produce a 10-minute video.
I mean, I used to do green screens and all sorts, like 2 years ago, might have been up to a year ago actually. But again, me stood there, you can see me. So when I'm talking about that spider, you're not looking at the spider, you're watching what I say because that's communication. So that's why I stopped doing the green screens, because I was like, I don't know. I've still got the green screen if I want to try it again, but I can't see myself doing it again in the future.
When drones first became a thing in the UK and everyone could buy an affordable drone, when DJI came out with their drones and everyone was buying drones, the amount of videos that went on YouTube, like exercise videos, mountain bike videos, whatever, that were then using drone footage, like what's his name, Casey Neistat. Like when you look at it, all of a sudden, everything he had in his videos of New York, drone footage, and everyone overdid it, and there was too much of it. And it's the same thing. You can do that with like a green screen. If you use it, if you have it too much, and you can overuse it, it becomes almost unnecessary. One of the things that Casey Neistat's always said is you can literally make a video on your phone with no special equipment. You can make it with an old Cinecam if you want to go back to video or whatever. Content is key. Content and the story. The story will make it. It can be filmed in the worst thing. If you have all the production in the world and you have no story,
that's the ring light I use.
Yeah,
that was given to me by my friend from work. All the editing's done on my phone. Job done.
If you have thousands and thousands of pounds worth of equipment and literally no idea what to do with it, and you have no substance to what you're trying to tell somebody in 8 minutes, you're not going to get views. You're not going to get repeated views for sure, because people will realize it's got no substance. And that's why I try and make the ones I've put up so far, I've sort of changed it a little bit. I'm trying to make it more just, this is me just rambling on for a couple of minutes about what I'm doing, and maybe a bit of footage on there, and little update, done. And because I think then it's sort of like it's like a journey. Come with me on me learning sort of thing, and then people can berate me and take the piss and read comments and make nice comments or suggestions and things like that. The one I put up about where I put the cork bar, the cocoa fiber on the back of the Exoterra background, and I've had a couple of people message and say, cut the back off as well, so you haven't got the bit where you put the cables down. Cut that because you'll get more room and it will sit flush. Nothing will go up behind it. Because in my Canberra guys enclosure, Red Runners forever digging down in the back of the enclosure up behind it, and I'm sitting there. I can't take the background out to get a Red Runner out because the spider's all over the place. So I'm sitting there waiting for it to come near the vent so I can then tong it onto its face to drag it up through the backing.
or when it's pushed up against the glass, you can glue on the top, and that's it. Job done.
Yeah. Exactly. Nothing can get through it then. And it was just things like that.
I think we've all got enclosures where we look and we think that Red Runner or that roach has been there for about a week. It's got to be dead. And then it starts moving around. And it comes out, grabs a bit of soil or something, and goes flying back into the same hole. I had a Red Runner at the back of this enclosure, my Canberra guy's enclosure, for so long. And the Canberra guy knew it was there. And every time it moved, the Canberra guy was up and down this background, knowing it was there. And I said, I've got to get it out somehow. Because this, and it was basically in the end, I got this tiny slither of carrot
and I left it on top of the vents at the very, very back where you put the cables in. And as soon as it came up to try and start eating it, it was tong straight down, bang, got it. Unfortunately, killed the runner in the process, but it stopped the camera guy literally pacing up and down. It was like, I'm going to come through that background sooner or later to get you. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to rehousing the camera guy. He's an absolute menace. But
or when you've got a cricket escape, and then it does nothing, and you know it's escaped, and you think, where is it? You know, I haven't seen you for about 3 days. You must have died. And then you can guarantee Tuesday at 8 o'clock it starts going.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you for real? And no matter where you think it's coming from, it's never where you think it is.
I don't have to worry about that. I've got no problem with any escapees, because I tell you, my wife will find them the next morning. I always come into this little room I've got here, where I've got just the crickets, the locusts and things like that. I will always come in here in the morning, and the first thing I'll look at is the desk, and it'll always have a little pot, and it'll have a roach in it, or it'll have a darkling beetle, or it'll have a mealworm, or whatever has been escaped for a couple of days. It'll be on the desk caught, and it's like, yep, found that one for you. Found that one for you.
It was when we did the leopard gecko. 4 went in, 1 come flying out, and then Tara found that about a week later. The first time I redid it all together, all the rest of it, nice and happy. And it was, I'm sure it was on live actually. She was having a bath,
Right.
and one of the little baby morning geckos had managed to get out and jump in the bath with her. Yeah, she was completely fine. She went, it just comes swimming up to me.
So we had our bathroom redone, and I do all my rehouses in there. So whenever I do it, I'm a bit sort of like, I don't really want to do too many videos in there because the echo you get from in there, because the floor's tiled, the walls tiled. What I like about the rehouses in there is I can go in there, shut the door, and I know the spider cannot go anywhere. There's no holes or gaps anywhere in there. It's just one of those places I can now go in. I've got a Hillabrakis Vietnam Blue to rehouse, and I know it's basically me and him are going to be in there on our own, and it's just going to be us two. So if it gets out, it's going to be entertaining, because I ain't coming out of the room to get more catch cups, but it's just going to be me and this spider in this room, and it can't go anywhere. I can't go anywhere. It'll be entertaining.
Did you see my rehousing of the Falax?
Yes, yeah.
That was one in here on top of the cooker. And I took the lid off and looked at it, and I thought, oh, shit, I know where this is going to go.
Yeah.
And I put the lid back on, took the lid off, and it just sat on top of its webbing. And I got the catch cup, and I went like that, and I was like, no way. Tickled its feet with the paintbrush. It flew straight up into the catch cup.
Yeah.
Put the lid on underneath, put in its new environment, left it there. It just come out by itself, quite happy, and everything was completely fine.
Well,
I could not believe that. I was like, you're not a Falax, you're a curly hair.
I've been making such a big thing about this Vietnam Blue, rehousing it. I bet you it goes swimmingly. It will.
What size is it at?
It's at the moment it's in a plastic tub with like a click lid, and I know that I can take the whole lid off. I've got a big square bottle that can go over. It's got 2 holes. It's got like one that goes into a cork bark and like a chimney back exit.
Yeah.
The bottle will go over both of those. And what I'm going to do is I've got cardboard that's cut to size that can go there, and I know I can sort of effectively tickle it out of its hide straight up. Then it's going into a Komodo, which I've set up already, and it'll go straight in there, because the cardboard will go straight over that, and then I can take out a bit away in the bottle. It will go down. I've got no problems with it. It's if it decides just to run at one point. But do you watch the Portsmouth Tarantulas TikTok at all? Do you ever watch their packaging where they sort of they make orders up now on TikTok for people, don't they? Please record this on TikTok. Please record.
Yeah.
Whenever they do one and they've got a Versi in it, the Versi is always the biggest pain for them, because they want to wander. Versis just want to wander, don't they? So I was like, I haven't got time for this. I don't want this Versi to wander.
Do you know how you was on about Mark farting on his lives?
Yeah.
Tara's just come in, and I've turned the microphone off, farted, turned it back on again, and she just started laughing at me and giggling away.
Not normal.
Mark would just let it go. And Ellie's sort of like, who was that? Who was that? And Mark, me.
I could have said it was his wife, couldn't I?
What, did he hear me in the front room just now?
No.
That's all right then. Oh. I could have blamed you.
that would have been an achievement to hear from the front room.
Yeah, tell me
It
about
was
it.
quite loud.
Don't even pages.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
But yeah, the Versi, I was like, oh, I haven't got time for this thing to wander. It needs to be rehoused quite quick. And literally, it just walked straight out of its old enclosure into its new one, shut the door. So, don't mind them. I was a bit disappointed. I wanted some content, and it didn't give me any because it just went straight behind the court bark and hid. But
Well, yeah,
to be fair, I'd rather that than have a load of content that me sort of like not being able to get this spider rehoused, you know? Sometimes a calm video is better than a hectic one.
Oh, in the early days, I've had to come home from work because there's a guy just walking across the front room, or a centipede. That happened in the very early days.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, and this is probably quite a responsible thing for me. I don't think I'm going to bother having a video camera on when I'm rehousing the Vietnam because I just want to be concentrating on it. I don't, you know, some people say, "Oh, killer brackets is fine. Don't worry about it. You're there fast, but you'll be fine with it." I just want to be focused on it. I think it'd be quite irresponsible of me to go, I'm going to set a camera up. I'm going to have that because I don't want to be trying to make content for something that I feel I need to focus on, if that makes sense. You know, there's many more opportunities I can make content with other things. So that one won't be getting filmed.
Yeah, I'm the same like Chris. Can't really allow it to happen when you got the kids.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the other thing. It's this why I probably won't film my Regalis when she goes out of her little tube into the Exo. I'll probably just do it because I'd rather be concentrating on it, knowing, you know, if things go wrong, they can escalate quite quickly. I don't really want to have the added pressure of trying to do it for someone else just for views.
When I rehoused the Regalis last, I just where you got the court bark, I just put a catch cup over the top.
Yep.
And it kind of sealed itself to the size of the court bark, if you like.
Yeah, yeah.
And just lifted the court bark up a little bit, and I bent a paintbrush so it'd go up. And with the paintbrush, I flared it out as well. So I just took it up slowly, twizzled it around, and she just walked straight into that catch cup.
Yeah.
A lot of the fossorials, that's your best mate. If there's two entrances, fill it with water, they come out. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the thing though. When I see sort of like, I mean, Dave has got years and years of experience, and the guy is so calm. I literally don't think he would be very interesting to watch a horror movie with because I don't think you could get him to flinch or jump at anything, which is brilliant for rehousing because you don't want that reaction. I mean, I've got a horrible video of me when I was just my tiny little sling sabulosum. It wouldn't move, and all of a sudden it darted, and I've dropped the little pot it was in to the floor because it completely took me by surprise. And it's like, you can't be that way. And that's why I thought I will not do it for the ones that I'm not 100% confident with because they should come first. And when you see Dave and Dave's pokies and the way Dave moves everything around, it's like, seriously, how can you have that many docile tarantulas? But it is just the fact that even if they move, when he did his Balfouri rehousing, even when they were on the move, there was absolutely zero stress in his life at that point.
It's easy. You just go to it very, very chilled, very calmly. And as long as you know, if it gets out, you have a backup plan.
Yep.
If it can't get out, you have a backup plan. So you know you've covered all your bases.
Yeah.
The Phalax, the only thing I did wrong with that, really, I should have had somebody else in here because they move that fast.
Yeah.
I should have got Lupang round for that evening, really, just in case it did run out. But those slow movements, if you've got a lid where you've had to spend 20 minutes taking it off and knocking it all around, make it loose so it's not sealed. Put a book on top of it so it's again not sealed, and just leave it for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That spider then goes back to chilled out mode, and then go in for it.
It's funny you say that.
The Balfouris we rehoused. One come out, and Lewis just literally very calmly went, boom, straight in, not a problem.
Yeah.
There's only one spider that's got out and gave me a run around for around 4 or 5 hours, and that was a sling, and it was an LP. and it was one of Layla's, so it was one of those where I've got to find it.
Yeah.
Regardless of what's happening, I have to find this LP.
We've got 2 Regalis. So I was gifted a Regalis by someone who was in chat, which was a very nice gift. I'm very, very thankful for it. And I have another Regalis. So this one, I had a female Regalis, and it's a little bit bigger, and I have a slightly smaller one. The one that's slightly bigger is in an Asda's pot. You know, the ones where you put the lid on, you turn and lock it, so it's like gasket, but it tightens by the turn. That lid, because it's so easy to turn and lift, the spider is never stressed, and it's always calm. I can literally get in there to feed it, water it, do whatever I want, and the spider never ever changes unless you tap the enclosure or move it. But my other Regalis is in a deli cup, a tamper-proof deli cup, and those lids, unless you get your fingernail and run it round really carefully around the lid, are an absolute nightmare to get off. That spider freaks out all the time as soon as you go near it because the lid gets moved and it's disturbed. So it's 100% true what you're saying there. You know, leave it, have the lid on, just leave it loose, let it calm back down again. Yeah,
they are a pain in the bum for rehousing arboreals out of.
Oh yeah,
because you have to go like that for a start, and then there's just not enough room. There really isn't enough room.
The tamper-proof pots, even though they're a godsend for cheap enclosures, when you've got your slings in a tamper-proof pot and you're trying to get that lid and you're turning it round like this and doing all that, it's a nightmare when it comes to that. I think this is why I would put my grown-on slings in these ones. I've got a load of these from Tesco's, and these are like, they're just push-on ones. Yeah, just these. But the lids, they come off. As long as you go for one corner, they come off so easy. Yeah. But if you try and lift them off straight, they're really difficult to get off. You have to put quite a lot of force into it.
These are cool as hell. Put as many holes in you want with a soldering iron as quick as you want.
The ones I don't like.
Hey, zombie dart blade.
These things. These are a nightmare. You open them up too many times, and they either don't click or they end up with a bit of a warp between this bit and this bit, and they're a nightmare. They're rubbish. Don't use them.
The way I found for them is that lid.
Yeah.
If you sellotape 2 1Ps to it, you're all right.
Oh, okay.
Then you've got a bit of weight on it.
Yeah.
Generally I'll try and steer clear of them bad boys.
But currently, these are my favourite enclosures. These things, right? This is highly modified, but these are the ones that I was talking to you about before, like Mantis Den. Literally, this piece of acrylic I've had made to size or cut to size, and then I'll drill the holes through to get for the bolt because they don't supply. A Spider Shop do supply the acrylic with their ones, but Mantis Den don't. But literally, this piece is about 80p, and the fact like a Versely can go in this with ventilation drilled all through it, and you've got like this now acrylic on top. These things are ideal, absolutely ideal.
And if you want a moisture-dependent species to go in there, you can seal up the sides with silicon sealant along the bottoms.
Yep.
Otherwise, if you put water in it, it just comes flooding out. Otherwise,
that's the trouble with these ones, the elastic bands. But I will run silicon on the inside down the bottom, and sometimes hot glue around the outside of the base. But also, these ones don't come in with any holes. They've only got the fly-proof things on the side. So if you have got moisture-dependent one, these you don't literally put less ventilation. I mean, I've added all this ventilation on the door and the sides, so you wouldn't need any of that, and then you can have a lot higher humidity in there. I think they're brilliant. They're not that expensive really. When you're sort of, and what I like about they're so crystal clear, because at the end of the day you want to sort of. I've got a few in tubs, but ultimately I want to be able to see my spiders and I want to be able to view them and the colours. And I did rehouse my Versi yesterday, and it's beautiful in there. I had a nice bit of cork bark like that, nice big piece like that, and it's webbed up down the side of it.
Generally, I keep mine in little plastic tubs here, there, and everywhere until they're sub-adults or adults, and then they'll go in a display case.
Yeah,
big glass enclosure, loads
You've
more.
Got a lot more slings than me, though.
Just.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. Sort of like you wouldn't want to sort of say there's a wrong. People who have the no, you've got everything in a lovely enclosure. No, you don't. If you want to, then fine. But if you don't want to, that's also fine.
these are quite nice. These little plastic ones with little lids
they're
on.
quite cool. They're like
Again,
what,
they're quite.
case, are they?
Yeah, they're quite expensive if you bought like loads.
Yeah.
But we've got them in tubs like that, big tubs, little tubs, all sorts. As long as you've got the environment that the spider needs inside the enclosure, you're all good to go.
We've got the only spiders I've got up here at the moment. We've got a spider and a mantis. So this one here molted out to its final molt yesterday or last night. Probably, I don't know if you can see its wings.
Yeah.
But that's I've had this one since it was the size of like a grain of rice, pretty much. Only this year, but it's molted through and it's got a lovely little thing. And the only other one I've got up here, I'm trying to figure out what to do with the door, is my Avic, who's in heavy pre-molt right now. I don't know if you can see her actually. No, it's reflections. Yeah, probably just see her just sort of there-ish. But she's literally webbed up over the entire door here. So every time I go in there,
yeah.
But that's a like, yeah. Look, she's got all this cork bar back here. No, I'm going to web there.
Does the lid come off or at the top?
It's a front opener, that one. And what I've done with it is I've taken where it was again. It's a mantis stem one. Before I started getting the acrylic, what that one's got is a bra plast cut out lid, and it's put in there with holes through that, so it's front opening. Because obviously with them webbing at the top, I didn't want to sort of leave any mesh or any. I didn't want to use that. They sort of metal mesh, but it's almost like it's not even as good as the Exoterra meshing, and I didn't like the way it moved. It's sort of an interlaced one that slides around, and I thought I just didn't want to risk it with the top webbing like tarantulas. I put the bra plast on there, and she's been fine with that.
That was one of the videos that I did watch. The Tarantula Collective actually is converting the lids of the Exoterras from mesh to plastic.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a bloody good idea.
Yeah, I've got a video out that I did because I've got my Exos where I did it. I've actually got the 3 Exos in front of me here, which have actually got those acrylic lids on. But it's just getting the sizing, getting them cut to size, and then getting those lids on. The thing I had on my video was it had some macro footage of the lids showing the difference between a Komodo mesh and the Exoterra mesh, because the Exoterra mesh is is an interwoven like string of metal, whereas the Komodo mesh is actually a flat, almost framework. It's almost like an iron fence, as opposed to like a mesh that you'd have like a school gate thing. They're vastly different with regards to that. Try to see if I had an old Exoterra lid and that to compare, but I haven't got them there. Or replace them one with acrylic. Yeah, cup of tea.
Cup of tea, Yorkshire tea.
So I've not been bought anything yet, so just sitting here. I'm going to dehydrate by the end of this. But yes, actually, I do have an EXO. I've got an EXO. I've just seen it. So I've got my background thing. That's the outcome of my background that I had. So that looks much better, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that looks so much better. So it still stinks though. It's been curing for like about 4 days and still stinks of the HA6. Absolutely reeks. And then I've got, all right, so this is one of the nanos I did. And literally, like that's the lid of it. So, and they just look so much nicer as well. But with these, all the case was to
okay. PG tips. No. Yorkshire tea.
It's literally where you have the mesh. The mesh is the hardest thing to get off. It's just measure inside the mesh part where there's like a barrier, and literally just there measure that to size, get it cut, and then just HA6 along the ridge, and then press it on. I was very worried that a little bit of force from the top. Is it going to hold? Is it going to hold? I've literally had weights on this to try and make sure. And to be honest, because it's so close to the edges here, what happens is it actually sits on the plastic that's got a lip just around here anyway. So the actual acrylic, even if it did come away from the lid, because that was my biggest fear, was whether it's going to hold or not. Because I know it's silicon, silicon on plastic is going to hold, but you don't want to be putting an old world or an Asian tarantula into it if you think the lid's going to fall off at some point.
Steve says he uses he silicons glass and stainless mesh onto the top of exos for the frogs, but he then uses acrylic for the tarantulas. I was just wondering, Steve, if that's something to do with UV light getting through on the glass compared to the amount that comes through on acrylic. And Lee Birch says, where do you buy the materials from, Tarantula Rookie?
Right, so I'm quite lucky because I've got a company just down the road from me. But literally, if you just Google acrylic, like laser cut acrylic or acrylic cut to size, there's companies all over the place. Because my one down the road from me, unfortunately, you have to spend about. I go and collect it, but if you have to spend about £100 before they'll deliver to you. Otherwise, the delivery charges are ridiculous. But there's loads of companies out there, and it's not that expensive to do. The ones for the nano and the other exos that I would use for the lid, I would say go 5mm thick. You don't need any corner edges cut or anything like that. No drill holes. Just a plain. You can drill the holes yourself. A lot of people are saying the issue with plastics and acrylics and these Tesco type tubs, these things, putting holes in them, is cracking when you drill holes. As long as you've got a new drill bit and you don't put pressure on the drill, you just let the drill sit on the plastic and the weight of the drill do the work, you will not crack it. I've had no cracks on any of the enclosures that I've drilled holes in. I've even the stupid tiny thin pieces of acrylic like these enclosures, they're like 3mm thick. The amount of holes you put through here, and it's just let the drill do the work. Don't push it through. If you rush it, you'll crack it. If you don't, and you just sit there, leave the protective film on it if it's got it while you drill the holes and take it off afterwards, because then you get all the little tiny burrs and stuff out as well. But something like a Tesco's pot, just let the drill do the work. No. Yeah, cut plastic sheeting online. I was looking at them as well. The company I use is sort of think comparable on prices as well. The place I get is called POS Wholesale POS, but they're based in Essex. So if you're an Essex-based person, they're in Central Essex and they're really, really cheap. Like I say, Mantis Den, I think they're 80p for those tops that I get. The actual pieces, it works out. It's under £10 for the Exo Terrors as well, so it's not too bad. But I think it's a worthy upgrade to do. They look nice. I haven't bothered with my Canberra guy because my Canberra guy had to go in the enclosure before I did it. I just haven't given them the new lid yet. Every time I take the lid, the tarantula decides it wants to come up. So it's we open the door feeding wise rather than opening the lid.
Feed it and do it while it's munching.
Oh, it's I mean, that's the only thing. I'd have to literally put some food in and do it. Well, I've got a lid for it, but my issue, like I said, is I'm
jumping off.
people.
What's up, Ellie?
I said I'll be jumping off in a minute.
All right, no worries. You all right?
Yeah, I just got to get up for the kids for school and stuff.
Oh, no worries. I'm going to disperse soon because I'm not feeling my best at the moment.
Oh yeah, you're struggling, yeah. That's cool.
Oh yeah.
I was going to say that I'm one of these people that massively overthinks things. So when I put these on, I know it's going to hold in my brain. Logically, I know it's going to hold, but I'm always like, my head is like, what if? What if? You don't really want the Canberra guy having the lid come in the night, fall in on the tank, and in the morning it's like, it's down in the lounge. I'm not going to find it. It's going to be the missus who goes down at 5 o'clock, or one of the dogs, or something else. And it's like, yeah. So I'm putting them through their testing just to make sure they're 100% secure. I have seen people screw the acrylic back into the exo lids. I'm not sure how they fix those. I know it's not needed, and I know everyone will tell me, Steve Thorne and all those people.
Night, Neil.
You don't need it. See you later, Neil.
I rescued some shacklades hanging off a mesh roof. Generally, they are okay to traverse them, but can fall with toe hooked and hanging. Gemma says, yes, I'm a little nervous, but it's only tiny. Yeah, night and good luck, Neil.
Yeah, some people do put the glass or the acrylics and stuff on the mesh without removing the mesh. I think you just have to. Yeah, glass is a lot thinner, so you should be able to put that. Because there's, even with the mesh on the Exos, it doesn't sit flush to the bottom of the lid plastic surround that they've got.
Yeah.
So you should be able to put glass inside under that mesh if you wanted to do it that way.
Ah.
And leave the mesh in place. And plus then the silicone will adhere to the mesh and the rubber gasket that runs round on that as well. So you should be able to, I would think, I haven't done it, but I would think that would work. And yeah, plastic will be a lot lighter than glass, obviously. See you
Ooh,
later.
night, everyone. I will do, mate. Yeah, I know, Gemma, I know. Your little cobalt blue.
Someone was asking about my t-shirt earlier. It's Deadpool with an axe in his head.
Ah. You get Deadpool knife blocks. That's pretty cool.
This is, it says I'm a unicorn, I think. Yeah, I'm a unicorn.
Right. I think I'm going to call it a night because I'm feeling a little rough at the moment.
No, I hope you're feeling better soon, buddy. It's
as a few of you might know.
Yeah, I do hope you're feeling a bit better soon.
Thank you very, very much.
I will say, I'll thank you probably more than you'll understand for having me on tonight. It's been absolutely awesome experience. I really appreciated it, and everyone who's sort of been quite supportive in the WhatsApp group and stuff like that about it and stuff like that. You know, it means the world to me, and yeah, very humbled, I'd say, to be sort of given a guest spot. It was been awesome. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I've not been in the WhatsApp for a couple of days because of me feeling not too clever at the moment. But yeah, appreciate it. No, thank you for agreeing to come on.
No, more than welcome to come on these things. Unfortunately, me, mate, as you'll find, is I can just talk for hours. It's my worst trait. Also, it's a good trait for live streams and stuff like that, but it's my worst trait because I don't shut up.
No, it's been good for me tonight because I haven't got a lot of energy at the moment.
Yeah, you just sit there and listen. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like, oh yeah.
All right. But no, it has been awesome, guys, and I do appreciate everyone in chat. It's like, yeah.
And I hope everybody that isn't subscribed up to Tarantula Rookie is now subscribed. If not, could I ask one of the moderators just before we go to drop his channel link into the comments, and then as we finish, you can all click over, go give him a follow.
If anyone needs any advice for anything regarding diet-wise and stuff like that, my inbox is always open. If I can help, I will. Like with anything, it doesn't have to be. It's like, I understand people don't necessarily always want to be public about things they're trying to sort of deal with themselves. But, you know, if you're struggling, my inbox is on any social media, always open for everyone. And I would also hope that then I could reciprocate that with people when I'm bugging them about questions about why is my beetle climbing up a glass wall? Why is it not going on its substrate, you know?
Chris's on wheels has just popped it into the comments for you.
Top man, Chris. Top man. He's an absolute legend. He sorted me out. I was moaning the other day I couldn't find any Exos, and he went off and searched all the places for Exos, and I went and bought 2 brand new Nanos that just what I needed. Got a good deal with them. So yeah, top man.
Behind the scenes, Chris and Lewis are amazing guys. They are absolutely phenomenal pair.
I want to see the end results of Lewis's table, because that looked like the best project I've seen in ages.
It's still ongoing. It is still ongoing. But I don't know what I can and can't say about it, to be honest.
No,
I don't know if he's going to wait until Saturday's stream, Mark's stream on Saturday, or what.
Once it's done, I'm like bated breath on it. Offer advice about growing beards. Who do I need to offer advice to though?
Yeah.
I regret I cut this. This thing was like I've cut it stupidly. I don't know why. It was one of those things where you just get really annoyed with something one day, and it's like as soon as you've done it, it's like, why did I do that?
The Dark Haven just said, "What about Tony Webb? What about him, Dark?" Tony Webb is the owner of Venomous Visions. He's the guy that dresses up as Carnage Cockroach at the shows. He's a personal friend of mine. and he is an absolute legend. If you get stuck on millipede or centipede care, inbox him and he will help you out whether you've bought it off him or if you bought it somewhere else.
He's one of the only people
bloody legend
that I haven't really spoken to much at the shows, simply because the choice of animals he has, I am extremely nervous about.
Go spend 20 minutes with him and then you won't be as nervous.
If I come away with centipede, my wife will literally drive to Coventry and murder you in your sleep. It wouldn't be, honestly. Centipedes are a no-no. Centipedes are a no-no.
There is a hashtag going around which is hashtag blame Scott's inverts.
Oh, she would.
I'm getting that for everything at the moment.
She'd be spray painting that hashtag on Chris's car. Yeah, underneath the invert logo. Oh, yeah, not good.
But yeah, he is a top guy. And like we said, if you scroll up the chat, Chris has dropped Tarantula Rookie's YouTube channel in there. Please pop over, share the love, give him a subscription. That would be absolutely awesome.
Yes.
Chris says, "Deal, you bastard."
Awesome. All right, it's been fun, guys. It has been fun. Really appreciate it.
We shall say good night.
Yeah, good night to everyone in chat. It's been awesome. We'll see you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining, Matt. It's been an absolute pleasure, and hope you're available in the future to come on another one.
I'll always be available.
I know you have to do some rearranging for tonight, and yeah, it really is appreciated.
No, it's cool. We got cover, and yeah, I had cover and stuff. But Tuesdays are a pain, but yeah, I'll always be around, mate. Always be around.
No worries.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Night, everybody.
Bye.